the sun beat down. I had the radio on. I was driving. Trees flew by. Me and Del were singing. Little runaway. I was flying. Yeah, running down a dream that never would come to me. Working on a mystery. Going where it leads. Running down a dream. Yeah, running down a dream that never would come to me. Running down a dream. Oh, yeah, running down a dream.
Monster Energy Cup Series racing from Pocono. The Gander Outdoors 400. Let's go right trackside and on to pit road to Marty Snyder.
Well, Rick, you heard Jeff say it a moment ago, the talk of the garage area yesterday in all the practice sessions, Kevin Harvick. They had to go through inspections several times. I asked Rodney Childers, do you think he dialed any speed out of this 4-car? He said, no way. We'll be just as fast today. And as Harvick told me, oh, they poked the bear. It's going to be fun to watch the Harvick come from 29th today, Dave.
And yes, Kyle Busch was one of those cars that failed post-qualifying inspection, but he leads Kevin Harvick and the other fast cars. Today, maybe he'll not be the Candyman, but the Pied Piper, Kelly.
Martin Truex Jr. is the most recent winner here at Pocono and has the best starting position of the big three, but they didn't love the handling of their car. They're going to have to make adjustments during the race. All right, it's time to get the engines fired here at the Tricky Triangle. Let's go trackside for the command.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the most famous words in motorsports. Here to give the command, please welcome our Grand Marshals, Chairman of Gander Outdoors, Camping World, and Overton's, Marcus Lemonis, joined by Gander Outdoors special guest, Captain Michael McKenzie of the Upper Darby Firefighters, Local 2493.
America, get on your feet! Get on your feet! Let's celebrate our flag, our freedom, and our country! Gentlemen, start your engines!
Chevy, when you're ready. Fired up and ready.
Marcus Lemonis never disappoints. A great command. The engines are fired up. 160 laps from Pocono coming up.
Look out, guys.
The third straight victory for him here at Pocono.
It's a Pennsylvania sweep. He sweeps at Pocono. Denny Hamlin.
He's going to savor this one, I have a feeling. Tony Stewart wins at Pocono.
Oh, now look out, it goes around. Spinning down to the inside of the racetrack. He is up and in the air.
Look out, trouble! Pocono goes to Dale Earnhardt Jr.
The wait is over for Martin Truex Jr.
It's out.
Kurt Busch will win at the Pocono Raceway.
Chris Buescher is your winner.
Will score his first career win.
Finally, Pocono.
Some great stories right there as far as who has won here at Pocono. I want to take a look at today's starting grid brought to you by Gander Outdoors. In the first 3 rows, there's only one driver that has won this year. Daniel Suarez, Denny Hamlin, they haven't been to victory lane. Although Denny has won here 4 times. Eric Jones, the only winner in the first 3 rows. And Brad Keselowski will start on the outside of him.
Yeah, Jamie McMurray in row 3 on a long winless streak. Wanting to end that. Starting Chase Elliott looking to get his first Cup win. Then behind them, Kurt Busch, a 3-time Pocono winner. Martin Truex Jr. He's the best of the big 3 starting 8th.
You got Ryan Newman, RCR with some speed this weekend. Matt Kenseth, Chris Buescher, past winner here.
And row 7 has a couple road course specialists. Michael McDowell and A.J. Allmendinger are known for their road course specialty. They'll be shifting here at Pocono. Maybe they'll suit their style. And Ty Dillon, David Reagan make up row 8.
All right, guys, we want to see if we can chat with Eric Almirola. What a run he had a week ago. Let's dial him up on the radio.
Hey, Eric, it's Burton up in the booth. You with us?
Yep, I got you, boys.
Well, you guys have been running great lately. Tell us what kind of chance you got to win today.
I don't know. I think our Smithfield Ford Fusion was decent in practice. I didn't think it was as good as the 4, but last week I didn't think we were the best car either, and Johnny and the boys made a lot of good adjustments to get the car ready for the race. So we'll just have to wait and see, but last month and a half or so has been a lot of fun. We've been showing up to the track with a lot of speed and running up front, so hopefully we do some more.
Well, you hadn't gotten that win yet this year. It's so close. What have you learned, though, that you can apply today to get that win?
Just honestly putting ourselves in position. You know, it's something I'm not really familiar with. Haven't raced up front for wins a lot at this level. So I just feel like the more we do that together as a team, and the more I do that, the better we'll get at it. And one of these days we'll seal the deal and go to victory lane, and hopefully sooner than later.
Well, it looks like to all of us up here that you're getting very familiar with running up front. Good luck today, bud. Make it happen.
Thanks, guys. Have fun today.
It's going to be fun watching Eric Almirola because he'll start back in 34th, one of the drivers that failed inspection after qualifying. So that 34th position, we'll see how long it takes him to break into the top 10.
All three of us have great teams. It's pretty amazing to be a part of this group.
A tremendous battle for the lead rages on.
Inside. Still there.
It doesn't take much. Just that bobble.
Good run right there. Way better. Go get him here. He's going high.
Harvick around the outside for the lead.
Hell yeah, boys. How about that? That's it, buddy. You get him, man. He's close enough.
Truex dives low into the inside of Harvick.
Hell yeah, boys. That's awesome. Do what you got to do to win.
Shoves Kyle Busch up out of the racing group.
I was holding his ass up in case you weren't watching.
The big three have accounted for 15 wins out of the 20 races already in the Monster Energy Cup Series. And can they continue that dominance here at Pocono? We're going to ride along with a few different drivers around this 2.5-mile track. Take us through them, guys.
We got 42. Kyle Larson, sponsored by Credit One. He's got the 360 cam, the bumper cam, the driver cam, and the roof cam. And then we got Kevin Harvick, number 4, right there. Gander Outdoors, he's also got the bumper cam, the 360 cam, the roof cam you hear, see here, and the driver cam.
He's already passing people. We also lucky enough to be riding along with Jeffrey Earnhardt, the IK9 camera. Look at this, he's got the helmet cam for us. AJ Allmendinger, Kroger cam on the roof. He's going to be fun to watch today. Look at this shot. We'll get a chance to see him shifting. And then the pole sitter, Daniel Suarez, the Toyota cam. And gentlemen, he's got the best view of all out front. We get to watch him shift, work those pedals today.
So while we're not watching the shifting that we know is going to take place, that actually will play into the strategy. Because if guys shift, it changes maybe fuel mileage and things. Steve, kind of walk us through the strategy of what we may see today here at Pocono.
Let's look at how this race is broken down here at Pocono. 2.5-mile trial of 160 laps, 400 miles. Those 400 miles will be broken down into 3 stages. The first and second stage, both 50 laps apiece. The final stage, 60 laps. The fuel window, 35 to 37 laps. That's important to keep in mind, Rick. This is the type of track where you should be able to pit and not lose a lap if you're close enough to the leaders. So we're going to see some crazy strategies today.
Let's go down to Marty.
Hey, Rick, we had 13 teams fail inspection. So when you fail inspection, your pit stalls are assigned to you. And look who's pitted beside each other, Kevin Harvick and Kyle Busch. Now, that could become precarious later in the race. So what they've done is they've organized a communication system. Richie Bean on the 4-car, he's underneath mechanic because their car chief is not here. Robert Smith, he was suspended yesterday after failing inspection too many times. Every time Rodney Childers wants to pit, he has to communicate with this guy, Nate Bellows, who is the car chief on the 18 team. So they're right beside each other, but that face-to-face communication will happen when they pit, Dave.
When I checked in with the 42 team earlier today, crew chief Chad Johnston told me we weren't very good in final practice, but that's kind of normal for us here. In fact, in the spring race, they started 13th and finished 2nd. The only difference today is he starts way back in 32nd, Kelly.
Daniel Suarez will lead this field to green for the first time in his young Cup Series career. That has the 26-year-old pretty pumped. He's most excited, Rick, to get out there in that clean air. We'll see what the 19 car can do with that track position.
Well, it's the first pole for Daniel Suarez, and we'll see what he's able to do with it. Again, this long straightaway in front of the grandstand. You see the fans on their feet as we get ready for the green flag to fly on the Gander Outdoors 400.
Keselowski with a great start from that outside, laid back, got a big run, was able to push Suarez to the lead.
3 wide already as they go into 1. And 4 wide as they come out of 1.
You got all those fast cars that had to go to the back, working their way to the front. A lot of traffic back there. Guys are weaving in and out of slower cars, trying to get position for that tunnel turn.
Suarez just in front of Denny Hamlin as they come out of 3. Everyone wondering, where was Harvick going to make up ground? How long would it take him to move up to the front? Well, after 1 lap, Kevin Harvick, who started officially 29th, was just scored going across the line at 18th. That's a pretty good pickup on 1 lap.
3 wide off of 1 here. You could see how much the 17 car, Stenhouse Jr. was moving around, just didn't make enough grip. He was able to make it 3 wide, drive underneath both of them.
Side by side.
They're downshifting the tunnel in traffic. Going to see a lot of guys downshifting, trying to take advantage of, not getting bottled up on that exit.
This is when you got a shot. You see those guys double up in front of you. You know you're going to get a big run on them. This is a shot. You might get 2 cars on this 1 straight.
So aggressive early when these guys want to get as many positions as they can quickly so they don't lose sight of that leader. And Steve, as you mentioned, the delta from the leader to when they could still come to pit road and not lose a lap.
Yeah, Rick, we're going to talk about that all day. Basically, if you want to come to pit road, change 4 tires and not lose a lap, you need to be, say, 10 or 12 seconds behind the leader. But Kevin Harvick right here trying to make this 3 wide. He wants to be closer than that. Yeah, Kyle Busch has now got to the outside of him.
Chris Buescher had his hands full through that corner through turn 1 and 2.
It's not going to be any easier being on the outside going through the tunnel here.
That's a terrible feeling coming out of turn 2 on the outside, knowing you got guys training you on the inside going into the tunnel. You got to try to race down in the tunnel, not lose as many spots as you can here. Yeah, Kyle Busch though to the outside. He's going to try to make his way through the traffic. I thought he followed a 4 car through the traffic. Looked like he's going to have to now.
And Junior, a fun battle as Kyle Busch and Kevin Harvick try to make their way up through the field. I asked Rodney Childers when they would be in the top 10 as Harvick passes 2 cars right there. He said by lap 15. I think it might be sooner for Kevin Harvick, who officially has gained 14 spots to this point. And I asked him before the race, I said, did they poke the bear? He said, oh, the bear has been poked. Kevin Harvick very determined to get to the front of the day today.
Has a great car, and when this 4 and the 18, Kevin Harvick and Kyle Busch are together, a lot of people are going to think back to what happened at the end of last week's race, where Kevin Harvick put the bumper to the back of the 18, roughed him up once, then moved him out of the way, took him completely out of the line, went on to check out and win the race. So a lot of people said, what's it going to be like when the 2 of them are racing side by side or are nose to tail? Well, we've seen it already here at Pocono early in these laps. They are running nose to tail. Kyle Busch's comment after the race, he said, how you race is how you get raced. So we'll see if that translates into those 2 racing differently here at Pocono today.
They're both on the same agenda right now. They both want to get up into that top 10 to earn some points. They're already 12th. Harvick's already 12th. So now they got even bigger aspirations to try to get well up inside, maybe even the top 5.
Denny Hamlin, 4-time winner here at Pocono. Being chased by Brad Keselowski, also has won here. Wasn't back in 2011, though, so it's been quite some time since Brad has been to victory lane.
Let's take a look at replay from the restart here. A couple guys having some issues. Joey Logano and I think Corey LaJoie there. Corey getting, oh, wow. Very careful for Logano, and here we are on Larson's car. Watch him react to this. Downshift. Man, they downshift fast. Try to get, you get bottled up there, get slowed down. Try to get going fast as you can. Well, that's some of the fear when you get sent to the back of the track. It doesn't matter how good your car is. You still have to be patient through those starts. At such a fast racetrack, traffic can still bottle you up so easily in one of these 3 corners. You're going to see that on restarts all day long in turn 1 and in the tunnel. Into the tunnel, man, guys, you're going to be aggressive down that back straightaway before the tunnel, trying to block and position yourself for the inside into the tunnel. There's be some fighting for that position all day long.
And how about a leader, Daniel Suarez? He's checked out on Denny Hamlin. Denny has a ton of wins here, and he's driven away from him. Good job by Suarez. Remember a few weeks ago, they got themselves way back in points, and he came out publicly and said, we are going to make the playoffs. And this is a shot for them, right? They qualified well. They had a good qualifying effort. They won the pole after other guys had a problem, but still, he sat on the pole, and he is driving away from Denny Hamlin. Check out this in-car camera that we've got with Daniel. There's short shoot going into turn 3. So watch his right foot. That right there is a downshift. He jumps in the gas, downshifts. If he doesn't jump in the gas, it'll over-rev the motor, it'll wheel hop it. Now he's on the front stretch. He's in 3rd gear. Upshifts to 4th gear. Watch his left foot now. He's going to pump that brake just a little bit, make sure it's there, get a good pedal. Blip the throttle, downshift into 3rd. Now he's back on the throttle, trying to get full throttle as soon as he can. Now let's see what he does in the tunnel. Some people shift, some people don't. This time of the race, new tires, you may not have to shift. Off the throttle, on the brake. You see, he never blipped the throttle. He never went and put RPMs in it. That tells you he's not shifting in the tunnel, Kelly.
And as I rode around on the truck pre-race with Daniel Suarez, he told me he really likes this track, and it's because of the shifting. That's one of the aspects he likes. He says we just do so much differently here at Pocono. The 3 corners are obviously all different from one another. He said for him, his keys are turns 1 and 3. He's willing to kind of give up the handling on turn 2. Now remember, Daniel promised this team was going to make the playoffs. They're 94 points below the cut line that was entering this race. Well, I asked his crew chief, Scott Graves, what it was like to hear Daniel say that. He liked it. He said, look, it shows that he has the confidence in this team, and he knows that we have the ability to go out there and gain points, close that gap, maybe get a win to get them into the playoffs.
And as Burton said, he made the statement, I'm going to be in the playoffs. That's bold talk, because prior to this race this year, he'd only led 6 laps. Already out front for 8 laps, Daniel Suarez leads at Pocono. Absolutely picturesque day for the NASCAR Monster Energy Cup Series Gander Outdoors 400 from Pocono Raceway. All right, fans, you want t-shirts, twill jackets, hats, die-cast, they're all available at the NASCAR shop. Just go to NASCAR.com/shop. You can get all your favorite driver's gear. John Deere brings you this moment where drivers were 3 wide. The one in the middle is the 4 of Kevin Harvick. David Reagan on the outside, Chris Buescher on the inside. 3 wide for Harvick as he has moved already up into the top 10. He's running 9th after starting way back in 29th.
Yeah, look who he's catching. Martin Truex Jr. We thought that Martin Truex Jr. started 8th, and he's running 8th. He really hasn't gone anywhere. I talked to Cole Pearn yesterday, and Cole said they were not very good in practice. He was not happy at all with the car. Of course, a lot of them tell us that, and they go win the race.
Yeah. Well, and as we're looking at the 4 here, closing the gap now on the 78 and the 41, the only car that's in the top 10 right now that didn't start there is the 4 of Kevin Harvick, and he started 29th. But Kevin Harvick made a comment with Marty Snyder in Countdown to Green. He said, we kind of have a chip, a little something to prove, which they did at Phoenix, where he got out of the car and tapped the back windshield, because it's like, hey, the back windshield's fine, and we still went out and won this race. It looks as though he's going to say, all right, yeah, we might not have passed inspection the first time, second time, but we're going to go out there and whip everybody's tail in, because that's how good they've been this weekend.
And Rick, I can tell you, talking to him pre-race, he is very determined to prove a point here this afternoon. And how about plus 20 on the spots for Kevin Harvick, trying to get that 78 for one more position. And they're within that window. We talk about the delta here at Pocono. You cannot be further behind the leader than about 11, maybe even 14 seconds for some of the better pit crews on pit road to come down pit road and change tires. And that window really opens in the next lap or so. So, Steve, you're going to be busy on top of that pit box, figuring out when to come to pit road. But with a car this fast like Kevin Harvick's, you may leave it out there for a little while.
Yeah, I mean, you could definitely stay on the racetrack. I'd be the opposite. I'd be the first car to pit road and try to tell the leaders, hey, just because I'm the fastest car, I'm also going to call a very aggressive strategy. I think that'll be setting the bar on pit road, knowing that you can try to get track position. But, Marty, you mentioned this delta. What does it mean? What is the description? It's very simple. If you're maybe 10 or 15 seconds between the green, the lead car, and the red, the car that's going to pit, we'll call that Kevin Harvick in 10th place. He's going to peel off, come to pit road, stop, get 4 tires. As long as he doesn't do anything silly like speed or the pit crew has a mistake, the goal would be that he could come back on the racetrack in front of the lead car. Now, he might be the last car in the lead lap, Junior, but he's still on the lead lap. That's the whole idea. You don't lose a lap, you've got your pit work done, and you're good to go for a whole nother fuel run.
Just ahead of that 4 car again, Martin Truex Jr. And just as Colt Purton, crew chief, told Jeff Burton, he told me they just weren't good. He said everything feels so different this time for some reason. They just felt like they couldn't get the balance right on their car, even though they're the most recent winner here, which is just back in June. He said it just feels different. Well, right now, Martin Truex Jr. saying, hey, he's not terrible. He said, I'm just stuck here. The left front's bouncing more than it ever has. And he said, I almost lost it a few times. So he's looking for more front grip when they come down to make an adjustment on pit road.
Dave, what's going on with the 42?
He's making his way to the front as well, Rick. He's passed 10 cars now, has Kyle Larson, and usually he's good on the weekend because he's done some play racing during the week, or you could say clay racing. He runs his sprint car very often, but this was a quiet week. And guess what? He still came away with the trophy. He won the Chris Economaki Newsmaker of the Year for 2017. So even when the guy doesn't run his sprint car, he comes home with the hardware. How about that?
He's been very impressive. Almost impressive as you being in Iowa yesterday and being here with us today. That's pretty impressive, Dave. Thank you. Suarez still out front, has a half a second lead now over Denny Hamlin. You mentioned Kyle Larson and the run he's having, currently in the 17th position. Just in front of him, a guy who started a little further back, Jimmy Johnson, making his 600th start, has been on the move, going the right direction, currently running in the 16th position. There's Jimmy, and he falls outside of that delta number that we were talking about, the 10 to 15 seconds behind the leader. He's currently 18 seconds behind Daniel Suarez.
Battle for the leads tightening up here with Denny Hamlin as they start to work lap traffic. These guys are going to battle Suarez a little harder maybe to stay on the lead lap, but they'll give to the second or third place car a little easier. You see Denny Hamlin right behind Daniel Suarez here, and even behind Denny Hamlin is Brad Keselowski, who stay within a second and a half of the leader. So we'll see if Denny can put up a fight here and make this a little more interesting here as they start to catch more lap traffic.
Yeah, Junior, now that there's laps on the tires, now let's follow and ride along with Daniel Suarez to see if he's shifting. I heard him shift that time in the tunnel. Early in the race, he wasn't shifting. He's lost grip and slowed down in the corner, so now he's downshifted as Harvick makes a move.
Harvick's going to pass the 78 of Martin Truex Jr. So now Harvick is up to the 8th position. All right, let's listen in to Martin Truex Jr. He mentioned earlier a bouncing front tire, now a brake issue. So the 78 doesn't sound very comfortable in that car.
Nobody's car is driving perfect, but you know, when you're struggling, this would be a struggling day for for Martin Truex Jr. and his team, because they're used to running in the top 3 and winning races. So when he's running back here in 9th and 10th, he's going to give a lot of information and a lot of new information that maybe the guys aren't hearing that often. But they'll tune on that car. He's not, you know, they'll be able to fix those issues and improve that car as the day goes on.
Steve, surprised at all that no one's come to pit road yet? We're on lap 20.
A little surprised. I was expecting some cars around lap 18. I'm surprised they're waiting it out, but they're not going to wait much longer. They could probably go to lap 35 on fuel. I really expect cars to come anytime. As I take a look on pit road from the booth here, I see a lot of pit crew guys up on the wall, warming up, kind of getting prepared to come to pit road. So definitely before halfway in the segment, which would be lap 25. Look at this run by Denny Hamlin right here through turns 3. That momentum should carry him down the front stretch. We'll see if he can get a little toe from the 19 and complete a pass.
Yeah, coming up on 3 cars here that could create some issues for Daniel in the aero. And down here, see if looks like the left might be able to get close enough to put a little pressure on him.
There's the 4 on pit road, Marty.
Steve and Rodney Childers thinking just alike. Kevin Harvick, the first one to pit road. They really felt like the 78 kind of slowed him up a little bit. He also said he could use a little more rear grip, but that was early in the run. Didn't have much complaints about it later in the run. 4 fresh Goodyear tires, Sunoco fuel. They'll be fine to make it to the end of the stage here for Kevin Harvick.
I love this call, guys. I love it. We've been fast all weekend, fast in practice, fast in qualifying, passing everybody on the racetrack, and now we're going to be the first car to pit road. So the aggression's not going to be just on the racetrack, but be on pit road as well. As you see the 11, did he touch the grass there? I mean,
he did, a little bit of grass there.
It's paved down there. Might as well use it. I love it.
I don't know if paved is the general credit. You see,
that's
Kevin Harvick just entered the screen in front of the leaders. So that's what we were talking about. See, he was close enough to the leaders. He was able to pit for service, 4 tires, and he's basically a half a straightaway in front of the 19 of Daniel Suarez, still safely on the lead lap. And because of that, I think we're going to see more action on pit road. Marty.
Alex Bowman coming down pit road. It's going to be right side tires only, the call from Greg Eyes, and they were very close to that back end of the Delta window, Kelly.
You'll see the 14 of Clint Boyer also there on pit road to get his service. He says he likes this track. He's had some good runs. Just hasn't been able to close one out. This is another car that was penalized for not passing tech inspection. He's had to work his way forward. 4 tires for the 14.
Quite a few more diving onto pit road, including race leader Daniel Suarez, Denny Hamlin, who was running second.
And Rick, Denny Hamlin just couldn't quite get that lead from his teammate Daniel Suarez. He said he was tight everywhere, especially coming off turn 3, and that's what he felt like was hurting him the most. Mike Wheeler making the call. 4 Goodyear tires here and an air pressure adjustment trying to free up his car, Kelly.
Well, the 19 of Daniel Suarez, he said that he was losing the nose of his car through the center of turn 3, and he said he was just a little bit too free everywhere else. The team felt like he lost most of his time to the 11 through that tunnel turn. It's going to be 4 fresh Goodyear tires, Sunoco fuel for Daniel Suarez.
Suarez with a good stop. I'd say that was about equal. Both pit crews did a good job. Both drivers did a good job.
Both out of the same organization.
Yeah.
Joe Gibbs Racing has definitely set the bar as far as pit crews. Marty.
Brad Keselowski hitting pit road right here. He said he's just really struggling with the exit of turns 2 and 3, and that's the biggest problem. So you're going to see that wedge adjustment on the right side. 4 fresh Goodyear tires, Kelly.
And for the 9 of Chase Elliott, he said that the car is freed up a bit turn 1 and in turn 3, but he's a little bit tight across that tunnel turn. It looks like it's going to be 4 tires, Dave.
Eric Jones reporting his car real tight with the front real loose in the back. He'll get 4 tires from Goodyear Sunoco fuel in the 20.
Jamie McMurray has the lead now as green flag pit stops continuing here at Pocono. Kelly.
And now we see the 24 of William Byron. In his rookie season, he's making his pit stop look like just a 2-tire stop for the 24. His crew chief had told me that they'd try some strategy to help make up some of that track position.
And locking up the tires is the 1 as the 78 closes the gap on him as he gets onto pit road. Marty.
And Rick, that may change their strategy. They were thinking about 2 on Jamie McMurray's car. He said it's tight in 1. That's his biggest problem. They're probably going to go with 4 tires here. Kyle Busch also on pit road. He said his car extremely free exit on all 3 corners. So they're going to try and tighten up that 18 car. Kyle Busch and then McMurray did indeed go with 4 fresh Goodyear tires. Kelly?
Well, we heard some of the issues for Martin Truex Jr. in that 78. He said he was doing everything he could with his brakes, but he said the pedal was getting squishy. It was long. He was really struggling with the handling of those brakes. 4 tires for the 78, Dave.
42 of Kyle Larson hits pit road. Now he'll take on 4 Goodyear tires, a fill of Sunoco fuel for a car that didn't feel like it would turn heading into 1 and 3, but in the tunnel turn, it was loose.
Jamie McMurray, even though he locked the tires up too fast entering, so he'll have to serve that penalty.
Yeah, he probably knew he was going a little bit too quick. Just had to try to get it slowed down, had the front brakes locked up.
Look at Eric Almirola make the move on Kurt Busch. Almirola in the 10, Kurt Busch in the 41.
Yeah, Rick, those guys off from pit road, you see how much new tires matter. The 10 of Eric Almirola unlapping himself. Now the 42 of Kyle Larson attempted to do the same thing. They just barely lost a lap coming to pit road. But you see instantly, Dale, what those new tires are doing for these cars.
Absolutely. Oh, Larson all over the apron in the tunnel, man. That's some treacherous territory to be down on. But his car, you know, showing that grip and that speed.
So difficult to win at the Monster Energy Cup Series level. And then when you make a mistake, it compounds the possibilities. Make sure to join on Wednesday mornings at 9 a.m. Eastern, the Morning Drive, where NBC Sports personalities will join on Sirius XM Radio. This week, Parker Kligerman will join the Morning Drive. Again, tune in NASCAR Radio, Channel 90. Dave.
Rick, Joey Logano wasn't particularly happy with the handling of his race car, and you can see it has a cosmetic makeover on the nose there, a big patch on the front of the Ford. Remember that contact we showed early in the race? I think it was lap 1 when he hit the 72 of Corey LaJoie. Well, that was causing him some trouble, along with chassis adjustments and 4 fresh tires. Joey hopes the 22 will be better on this run.
That's a lot of tape on the front of the 22.
Well, Junior, you pointed out this contact that Dave was talking about on lap 1, and that's a really nice job under green to get that repair done right away. I mean, not to have to wait for a yellow flag. I commend the crew. It's done. You don't see it flapping. We'll go back and take a look at it, Dale. You pointed this out.
Corey LaJoie gets up into the side of the 51, has to check up. Hard hit there, so it don't look like it might, that would do any damage, but not a lot of strength in the front end of these cars. So you put that piece on there to try to help the aerodynamics a little bit, the cooling as well.
Yeah, very nicely done for sure. Very nicely done. So we'll see if this improves at least the handling on the 22 car.
Steve, only 21 to go in this stage 1, and a lot of strategy has been unfolding. You mentioned fuel mileage, some guys staying out. Others you thought maybe should have come in a little before when they did.
Well, so Rick, basically the first stage is 50 laps. Everyone knows they have to pit. We're seeing Joey Logano right here. Well, if you cycle back to the lead currently, it's the 41 of Kurt Busch, the 48 of Jimmy Johnson. Those cars have yet to pit. I understand their strategy. They're going to run 34, 35 laps probably on this first tank of fuel, and then maybe only take right sides versus, say, Denny Hamlin and Daniel Suarez, cars that have come to pit road early around lap 22. Actually, we see Jimmy Johnson on pit road right now.
And he's going to follow your lead and take just those 2 right side tires. Jimmy said that he was tight across the center, but just a little bit loose off. Could sense some disappointment there on, it looked like a slow release for the 48.
Yeah, it looks slow in the right rear to me, Kelly. So that's the crew chief's nightmare, right? You take 2 tires because that's what you're mapping out. That's your strategy. It's still going to work. He's going to stay in the lead lap for the 41 and gain some track position. And he knows in 19 laps, the yellow's coming out. Dale, so 2 tires is enough. What I was saying, I was shocked that Suarez, Hamlin, and some of those guys, they allowed Kevin Harvick to beat him to pit road by 2 or 3 laps. That's 4 or 5 seconds on the racetrack.
Yeah, well, he had a big enough lead. I guess that wasn't a real concern. Kevin was about 7 to 9 seconds back when he came to pit road, so they could give up a little bit of time or a few laps before, Kevin would overtake them through that whole cycle. So right now, Hamlin and Suarez have switched positions. Suarez is now behind Hamlin, and once we cycle through, let's take a look how that happened. Now Denny got around Daniel. They come up on some slow traffic, and Daniel has a little tough time aerodynamically with the 43 car in front of him, and it gives the 11 car of Denny Hamlin the ability to make the run. And once Denny gets that close, it puts a little bit of pressure on the left rear quarter of that car. Even that air can drive that 19 car tight off that corner up behind that 43.
And the reason we show you that replay, even though that was at the time, the 5th position, that was really the lead of the race. And look behind the 19 car. You had the 9 of Chase Elliott, who has also pitted. So he has pitted and made up time on the racetrack, as well as, oh, don't look now, the 4 of Kevin Harvick. So between having a great race car and a great pit call by Rodney Childers to come early, the 4 of Kevin Harvick is currently scored in 8th, but when the 3 or 4 cars that haven't pitted come to pit road, that 4 will have a chance to race for the lead and maybe, can you imagine this, win stage 1 after starting at the back, all under green at Pocono?
Well, the other thing, Steve, that I'm looking at is you had mentioned how difficult it is to click off lap times as well as the leader. And Kevin Harvick has been in traffic this entire race. And yet he is going to be within about a second, maybe a second and a half of the leaders after everyone is pitted.
Yeah, I mean, I would have his lap time circled every single lap, because if you're even close to the leader speed in traffic, Marty, then you are hands down the best car here.
And how good is Kevin Harvick? Brad Keselowski just came on the radio to a spotter, Joey Meyer, said, Joey, is that the 4 car behind me? He's that much faster than the rest of the field that he's caught me already. This is unbelievable. So even the guys racing against Kevin Harvick can't believe the speed he has today.
Well, we want to see what it's like to ride along with the fastest car here in Pocono. Take us along there. We're looking over basically the right shoulder of the 4 of Kevin Harvick.
Going down the back straightaway into the tunnel turn. We'll see if he shifts here. Yep, Dan shifts into the tunnel there. He's trying to take advantage of RPMs. That's going to give him in 3rd gear on exit and get a run. You see it close just a little bit on Keselowski. Quick shift into 4th, and they're going to shift into 3rd again down here in turn 3. Man, it enters real good. Good speed entering. Kurt Busch, our leaders on pit road.
And Junior, I talked to Billy Scott, his crew chief, this morning. Remember, they did not go to the rear of the field. They kept their qualifying position. I said, you feel like you gave up something in the tech line? He goes, no, not really. He said, you can't get too relaxed, but he said, we pushed the envelope just far enough for our comfort, and we did a good job with it. You see, he gets 4 tires there, just a little bit loose into the corner, a little bit tight in the center.
Be interested to see where he comes out once all this cycles through and what this kind of strategy is going to turn, how this is going to work out for him.
Well, it's all reset now with the 40 web coming to pit road. Basically, the field is completely reset. So you see right at the top of the screen, your top 3, Denny Hamlin, Daniel Suarez, Chase Elliott. Right behind them, Brad Keselowski, Kevin Harvick in 5th. So, I mean, this is it. There's no more strategy. There's no more pit stops. This is the plan. This is a run. 16 to go to the end of stage 1 here at Pocono, Rick.
Denny Hamlin has a 1.3 second lead over Kevin Harvick, the fastest car on the track. Monster Energy Cup Series racing from Pocono Raceway. And things are heating up front. Want to take a look at today's Toyota driver update. And there are 5 Toyotas that are in this race. And all 5 of them currently are in the top 10. Denny Hamlin out front. Suarez running 3rd. Eric Jones, Kyle Busch, Martin Truex Jr., 6th, 7th, and 8th.
As impressive as those Toyotas are, this 9 of Chase Elliott has run Denny Hamlin down. We saw last week he won the first stage of the year for the 9 car at New Hampshire. He was concerned. What did he say after the race? I'm not discounting how hard everybody's working, but I hope it's not a fluke. Junior, doesn't look like a fluke to me. He's catching the 11 for the lead here at Pocono.
Yeah, I'm surprised. I mean, we've been wondering about the Chevrolets and where the speed was all year and when they would find it, and it's been like a flip of the switch the last couple weeks for this 9 team. This impressive run to be able to get up there and compete like he's competing. Marty.
Meanwhile, Denny Hamlin hoping he can hang on for a few more laps. 11 to go here in stage 1. They could use a stage win. As he told me a few weeks ago, our team is, quote, allergic to stage points this year. They only have 2 playoff points on the 11 team. So their main focus, holding on to this lead and trying to get some playoff points, Rick.
Might go away right here, though. Here comes Chase Elliott. A great run through turn 1. And now on the inside makes the pass before he gets to the tunnel turn.
Denny Hamlin just could not hold the bottom of the racetrack on the exit of 1. And you talked about the Chevrolets, Junior, and how they're coming on. That's the 2nd pass this year for the lead on track that Chase Elliott's made. The first one was last week.
And he got his first stage win of the year. Can he get his second? He only has 11 laps to go in this stage.
How about the top 4? I mean, the top 4 are all separated by 1.2 seconds. If you'd have told me that Kevin Harvick could be running 4th with a chance to even win. There, look, there he is.
Yeah.
He's 1 second behind Chase Elliott.
Kelly.
And it was actually dumb luck that Chase Elliott said after the race last week. He hoped it wasn't just dumb luck that they had so much speed. Obviously, they didn't. Alan Gustafson told me it was certainly good for a confidence boost. But on top of that, they had a huge points haul last week. He said that definitely takes a little bit of the pressure off. He said, my mind is certainly not at ease, but they're more comfortable with their position getting into the playoffs. But bottom line, Alan Gustafson and Chaser Elliott certainly want to get to victory lane.
And you guys just saw the 9 car go through the tunnel and use the apron. I am so impressed by their ability to do that they even want to do that. Why are they doing that? What's that doing to the balance of the car? But it's so rough through there, and that's such a fast corner. It's incredible that they're getting down on that apron and getting through there. Let's take a replay here.
Yeah, check it out. I mean, Chase Elliott, you can see battling lap traffic. He wants to get those cars between he and those guys in second. But watch this as he goes to the bottom in the tunnel turn. He hits the apron. It's a lot
of apron.
It looked like the left front almost came off the ground. He went through there. It was so rough.
I know that we hit it on accident at times, but we've now seen the 42 and the 9 use it. Here's a battle for second, third, and fourth.
Daniel Suarez chasing after Denny Hamlin, and then Kevin Harvick riding along with him as we see the back bumper of the 19.
When I was in the race car, at this particular point, if I'm Suarez and I see the 4 coming, it wouldn't occur to me that it was really that important to keep him behind me this early in the race. But now that I'm up here in the booth watching it, I'm thinking every time that these guys have Kevin Harvick come up behind them, like they need to hold him behind them as much as they can. I mean, if this car, as fast as it is, gets the lead, this race is over with. I don't know anybody, unless they have some issues or some strategy on pit road, that could get by him on the racetrack. So I'm like hoping these guys will battle as hard as they can to keep the 4 car behind them.
Showing just how important all of the points are. Stage points on the line, less than 8 laps to go until the end of stage 1, and you're going to see all of it as we go NASCAR nonstop. Five laps to go in stage 1 for NASCAR Monster Energy Cup Series Gander Outdoors 400 Pocono Raceway. All eyes continue to be on the 4 of Kevin Harvick as he moves through the field. We come to so many beautiful racetracks. Pocono here, right in the Pocono Mountains, gorgeous. Well, next week, Watkins Glen. You go to the Glen, one of the more beautiful racetracks you'll ever see. And tickets are still available if you want to go there. Very limited number. They've sold out the last 3 years, expected to sell out again this year, but you can get a ticket, NASCAR.com/tickets. There's just a couple available. Go check it out.
All weekend up there, Rick.
Yeah.
Not just a great cup race, but a whole weekend of great racing up at the Glen.
See the intervals between race leader Chase Elliott. Kevin Harvick is 3.8 seconds back from him.
How about Eric Jones? Won a few weeks ago, got his first win, and he's going to hit pit road, Steve.
Oh, I love this call. He's going to pit now, coming to 3 to go before the end of the stage. Pit, take 4 tires. He's going to give up those points at the end of the stage. But when everyone else pits in 3 laps, he should be the leader of the racetrack, Dave.
Nice clean air for the 20 car when he goes back out there. The first run, this car was not to his liking. It was looser than he wanted it to be at the start of the run. It tightened up throughout the run. It got a lot better here, and he passed cars during this run. This will be a 4 tire and fuel change, Kelly.
And it looks like Martin Truex Jr. and the 78 team's going to try a little bit of that same strategy. Remember, they just don't feel like they've had the speed or balance in this car to make up track position on the track. So Cole Pern making the call here to bring him to pit road before the end of the stage close. 4 tires and Sunoco fuel.
So basically the idea here is these cars know that the yellow is coming out in 2.5 laps basically for the end of stage 1. Both these cars were inside the top 10, but they're going to give up those points at the end of stage 1 for track position. Pit now, get their service done. There's the leader, Chase Elliott. We continue to talk about this. You can pit at this racetrack if you're close enough to the leader, not lose a lap. That's exactly what the 20 and the 78 has done. And in 2 more laps, the end of the stage, a stage win perhaps goes to the 9 of Chase Elliott. The field will come to pit road, and guess who won't, guys? The 78 and the 20, and they'll start first and second for the start of the second stage.
So both the 78 and the 20 are locked into the playoffs because of wins. They weren't going to win the stage, which would have enabled them to win 1 playoff point, which would have helped them in the playoffs. So a good decision. I mean, this is an option for them to come to pit road, be out front, and dictate how the next stage starts.
I feel there are some crew chiefs on pit road going, gosh, I wish I would have thought of that. That was a good idea for those guys.
But they did give up some regular season points.
They did.
And they're trying, you know, there's bonus for being first, second, third in regular season points all the way through. So Martin Truex Jr. in that battle to be the one that has the most points, to get those 15 playoff points, he just took away those points that he would have gotten for finishing inside the top 10.
Hey, Rick, get your calculator out.
I'm working on it.
Pocono and Watkins Glen, we're going to talk about this a lot, and I know it's not as exciting perhaps as door-to-door racing, but it is a chess match by these crew chiefs on top of the pit box, and you have no choice. You cannot just put your head in the sand and forget about these strategies, because everyone on pit road is thinking of a way to gain an advantage.
It always helps somebody, right?
Yeah.
It hurt somebody, it helps somebody. Well, it helped the 88 of Bowman. He's right on that cut line. Well, that just got him 2 points, because now it looks like he's going to finish 9th. So that helped him.
Chase Elliott, it wasn't a fluke. He gets his second stage win of the season right there. He thought it might have been a fluke a week ago at New Hampshire, but he is showing some strength now as he gets the stage 1 win at Pocono.
I think two becomes a streak. What's a streak start? 2 or 3?
I would say 2 is a streak.
That's a streak to me.
Stage 1 winner, Chase Elliott. There's a playoff point. You got to make sure you're in the playoffs. That's the goal of the 9 team as they continue to look stronger here in 2018.
Running down a dream that never would come to me. Working on a mystery, going wherever it leads. Running down a dream.
At the track or on the go, passions never turn off. And with Max Iced Coffee, neither will you. Pick up Max Antioxidant or Max 2x Energy Boost using Kroger Click List today.
A familiar sight to see the 9 up front at Pocono. I say that because 20 years ago, the 9 went on to victory lane. His 4th of 6 wins in 1988. So remember, 20 years ago, that means that Chase Elliott would have been 2. He's 22 years old now, but Chase Elliott following his dad around, always in victory lane with him. Well, Chase Elliott still searching for that first trip to victory lane on his own. Yeah, I did the math wrong there, didn't I? It was 88.
Rick, I told you to get your calculator out.
I was looking at the wrong calculator. 30 years ago, so Chase wasn't even born at that
I was over
point
here
in time.
thinking, did I race again?
30 years ago, of course.
Hey, Rick, I'll work the fuel mileage.
You take care of all the numbers from here on out.
I thought you were getting ready to show that Evernham car that went up going so bad here in an Indy, you know?
Yes, that was the 9. So, getting ready to come to pit road. And now we know that the 20 and the 78, because they came just before pit road was closed, there'll be 2 cars that will stay out on the racetrack, trying to grab that track position that they gave up the points that they would have got from coming and finishing in the top 10 from the stage. But now it all in the hands of the pit crews. Marty.
Kevin Harvick said they were better on that run after the first stop and the adjustments they made, but he was, quote, terrible in traffic. Terrible enough to gain 27 spots from 29th to 2nd for Kevin Harvick. Denny Hamlin, middle of your screen, said his car's way too loose on entry, way too tight on exit. That's his biggest issue, and he's a little bit concerned about the water temperature right now, 275, Kelly.
Chase Elliott has now won stages in back-to-back races. He said that he was a little bit free on entry and a little bit tight getting back to throttle. You saw they made a slight chassis adjustment there in the right rear, along with 4 Goodyear tires and Sunoco fuel.
Casey Kane had to back up. Something wrong with the 95 there. As we see the race off pit road, brought to you by Kroger Click List, and a 2-tire stop for the 41 team. Kurt Busch. So 7 spots they gain. Chase Elliott's only going to drop 1. He was able to hold position with everyone else. That took 4 tires. But again, just his 2nd stage win in the 2018 season. They've been searching for the successes. Let's see if we can dial up Chase Elliott now.
Hey, Chase, is Burton, you with us?
Yeah, go ahead.
Man, you told us last week you were concerned that good run could have been a fluke. Well, certainly you don't feel like that right now.
Yeah, we hope not. We're just working hard trying to keep it up here for when it counts later in the day.
Well, we know the track's getting hotter and slicker. Where do you think you need to be a little bit better?
I think turn 3 for me, you know, that seems to always be the critical corner, and not a lot of banking to help you, and obviously leading to a very long straightaway. So I think if we can keep turn 3 good throughout the day, we'll be hopefully just fine.
Well, you're doing great, man. Keep it up. Have a good rest of the day.
Yeah, thanks. Y'all have fun.
We're having a lot of fun following Chase Elliott. See how he will do. Restart coming up from Pocono after this. One stage complete in the NASCAR Monster Energy Cup Series. Gander Outdoors 400 from Pocono Raceway. We talk about the Pocono Mountains and the tunnel turn specifically. And there's a little bit of a waterfall out there as the tunnel goes underneath the racetrack there in turn number 2. And you guys have talked now about how difficult it is, but we're seeing guys run right down on the apron through the tunnel turn.
Yeah, in the grass. I didn't know you could run down there and see how rough it is. And, you know, it's hard enough when you go down there by yourself. You're going so fast. It's a 90-degree turn. It's very, very sharp radius. But we're getting ready to go through there too wide on this restart, and then it gets very, very difficult.
All right, guys. Dale Jr., Steve, we've seen a lot of strategy already. Is anybody standing out early?
Well, I think it's what we expected. There was going to be a variety of guys that come to pit road. But, Dale, you mentioned you really like that move by Eric Jones coming to the end of the stage.
Yeah, I saw, you know, he had the speed even before he pitted to be up in that top 5, and he's been there all day long. So I think this is great strategy by his team to give him a shot to win this race. Keep him in that front 2 rows as they get these restarts going further into the race. Him being in that front or second row is going to give him a chance to win.
All right, guys. Well, so far, one stage in the books. And I think we're all surprised about Kevin Harvick. I don't think anyone thought that he would be in the top 10 after 9 laps, but he actually did that. Now he's going to have to restart back in the 6th position. Eric Jones, Martin Truex Jr., we mentioned they stayed out once the stage was over because they came to pit road early. So they were going to make up row number 1. Kurt Busch and Chase Elliott will be in row 2. Then it's Suarez and Harvick in row 3. Field approaching the Geico restart zone. Watch them fan out once they get past the start line.
Saw on the first restart, Daniel Suarez got clear as the leader, but Truex and Jones side by side. Jones diving into the corner. Wow, what a move on the outside.
Truex had some kind of problem.
Absolutely, still struggling. He's going to pull up in the outside groove, get a little assistance there from the 88. Do a little recovery.
That's a smart move. Sometimes you got to play defense. That's where we talked about side by side of that tunnel turn, Junior. It's difficult at best. So rough through there, so narrow.
To the outside, Suarez trying to get past the 18 of Kyle Busch. Kyle Busch will have the advantage and a little bit of momentum as he closes the gap on brother Kurt Busch just in front of him.
Eric Jones out front. We saw that great strategy and see what kind of speed he has on this run, but I think he's got a top 4 race car. These guys will fight hard, and you know what, Kevin's car is so good. If he gets out front, it'd be impossible to pass him on the racetrack. So these guys got to understand that, try to do what they can to keep him in dirty air. He complained about dirty air on his race car earlier in the race. They need to know that and try to keep him in that dirty air.
Another car we haven't talked much about, that 88 of Alex Bowman in the 5th position. You may not recognize it. It's that green car right there. Exalted got the Eagles on the side of it this week. Remember, he took 2 tires under green. That was a good strategy call by Greg Ives. While it may not show up as something unbelievable, Marty, it's really kept this 88 in the race.
And it pains Dale Jr. to see his old 88, doesn't it, Junior? His Eagle colors. I know you hail to the Redskins, guys, but they've had a fantastic race, and they really were excited to get back to this race, Steve, because they felt like they had a top 8 car here in June, got in a very late accident with Denny Hamlin, and they're proving it today. How about Alex Bowman, the guy sitting firmly on the cut line in the top 5 right now?
See his teammate.
Don't you have to say Super Bowl champion Eagles when
That's
you
what
mention
the
that?
Eagles fans would love you to say. See, Chase Elliott's been running great, and I was wondering whether that information is being shared throughout the company. Would we see his teammates start to pick up that speed that he showed last week? So starting to see it in that 88 car today.
You see that 9 car bounce through the tunnel. Gosh, it's rough.
And those guys are hitting that apron. They're still, we've seen it a couple laps ago, a few frames ago, where those guys are using that apron in the tunnel, and that just really surprises me that they'd be trying to clip that apron to get the cars to rotate there.
We showed this earlier, Dale. We went away to another battle on the racetrack. Kevin Harvick, obviously see the work on the top of the screen. He's going to downshift to try to look underneath the 9 here.
Best thing you can do, what you want to do really, is try to get in there and get to that bumper and upset his car aerodynamically. If you get close enough down the front straightaway, drive and overdrive the corner a little bit, at least get to this bumper and kind of move him up off the bottom without ever touching him. That's what Kevin's wanting to try to do here at any opportunity, any corner.
Straightaway so long on this racetrack. Over 3,700 feet on the front, the backstretch over 3,000 feet. Marty.
Hey, Rick, obviously Kevin Harvick in his race car so fast today, and everybody on pit road knows how fast that 4 car is. So I'm wondering, Junior, you mentioned it a moment ago, Kevin did say we were terrible in traffic. So how much are you and Steve, if you're driver and crew chief combination, listening to that, understanding that, and doing everything you can to keep Harvick down and back there in 3rd?
Yeah, that's what I would be imploring my driver. If I could get that information that Harvick's given his crew chief, I would say to my driver, hey, he struggles when he's behind cars, and we've seen Kevin run 2nd here so many times in this race with the best car at the end of these races. And if anybody has the best car, you can hold them up. This is a track where it's really difficult to pass. So you got to know that and try to understand you have every right to try to hold that position even earlier in the race like this.
We talk about great strategies. Those are not only on the offense, they have to be on the defense as well. Let's take a listen into the 4 car.
Those left side tires have been chunking just a little bit. I think, most of that comes from the tunnel turn back there where you kind of go across the apron. But if we can ever get to the lead here, might lay off of that a little bit. Talking about the apron? Yeah, 2-4.
Good information.
Did he say right side tires?
No, left.
Oh, I was going to say.
What will happen is the left side tires, you run very low on air.
Got a run here.
Got a good run on a 9.
Oh, and a little bobble there by the 9. Here comes the 4 of Harvick. This is for 2nd.
That run started in the middle of the corner. You saw the 9 car wiggle just a little bit, lose the bottom, and
Clear.
Kevin Harvick saw it and seized the opportunity.
It's gonna be hard to hold him back. I mean, that's how good his car is. And
you notice he stayed off the apron there.
He did stay off the apron. He gets that information. He goes, hey, I don't chuck my left side tires. I'm going to stay off of it now. He's got a fast enough car. He can miss the apron and still run faster than the rest of the field.
Kelly, what's the 78 team been talking about after they fell back after the start?
Well, Martin Truex Jr. said he thought maybe they didn't really get the grill cleaned. He said he thought he had some stuff on there that tightened up his car, got really tight into turn 1. But on top of that, remember, they still have those brake issues they're dealing with.
Only gave up 3 points to do that, so cleared as a recall. Over that, it wasn't possible, but you made up so much time on him that we got us a thin range. Glad I could help. I've been fast if I had brake. I understand. Sorry, I don't know what to do.
And Martin said, hey, we fix this brake issue. I think we might have a car good enough to win this thing.
Kind of hard to fix brakes in the middle of a race, isn't it? Or can you do something?
Well, unless it's cooling and perhaps opening those front ducts. That's about the only thing you could do during a race.
New leader in the Gander Outdoors 400, Kevin Harvick. It was a matter of time. Everyone knew that the 4 car, as strong as he was yesterday, would at some point in time be up front. This is how it happened.
Well, he got a great run off turn 3. Eric just did not get off 3 well and allowed Harvick to get a run down the front straightaway and get air packed up on that 20 car. And Eric just could not get the car to the bottom of the racetrack, and Harvick easily made the pass. The pass started in 3. He just did such a good job of getting off the corner. See right there? See Eric had the car just wiggle just a little bit. That's just a little bit of momentum, and here comes Harvick.
And Harvick was so smooth exiting 3.
And so look what Kevin does. He doesn't try to just turn left. He just tries to get to him and turn left a little bit. Now he moves that air off the 20 car, and now Eric just can't drive the car the way he wants to, can't carry the speed in the corner the way he has the laps before, and Kevin takes advantage of it.
Kevin Harvick trying to check off this race as far as a track that he has never won at before. Only 2 tracks still on the schedule, Pocono and Kentucky, that Kevin Harvick is winless at. He's been a runner-up 4 times here at Pocono, trying to change that strategy. He could do it in record fashion because he started 29th. That's the furthest back anyone has ever started, and I'll include Carl Edwards because he did it before back in 2005. Carl Edwards started in 29th position, won that race. Carl Edwards didn't get to the front until lap 106. Harvick was there at lap 65. Dave?
Rick, Pocono will make you jump. That's what happened when the 41 said hit pit road, hit pit road. Nothing going on with the 41 except strategy. Remember, they took only right side tires the last time he was down pit road. Steve, it's just 17 laps into stage 2. Why would you pit here?
Well, he took 2 tires, as you mentioned, at the end of that stage and was losing ground. It wasn't really working. He was losing ground to the leader, and he was getting so far away from the leader that he was going to lose a lap by pitting. So at that point, you kind of have to bail as soon as possible. You're going to see right here, it's going to be a tight battle between teammates. He is going to lose a lap to the 4. Hopefully these fresh tires will be able to overcome Kevin Harvick. Normally, I would say that should be easy, but as good as Kevin Harvick is, I'm not going to say that quite yet.
Kevin's running 52 50s, so Kurt, I mean, it's Kurt's
well, I'm sure the way it's been going, you know, Kevin will just let him by, right? They have a great relationship after Chicagoland, right?
Let's see. How important is a stage win? Well, Kurt Busch and Kevin Harvick showed us just how important it is earlier this year.
Well, I think to Steve's point, you know, you would think that this 41 car putting on tires could just go up there and blow by Kevin Harvick. Well, if he can't, then Kevin Harvick, we know he has the field covered, but it would be an unbelievable feat to take a car that has brand new tires on it and be able to hold them off.
And so far, he's made it a lap. We'll see if the 41 can close the gap on the 4. Those fresh tires don't seem to be giving Kurt Busch an advantage. Daniel Suarez led the first 21 laps of this race. Chase Elliott out front for 14, including the stage win. Kurt Busch led 11 laps already today. Eric Jones was out front for 11. Denny Hamlin led 5 laps here at Pocono through the green flag cycling of pit stops. And again, this right here is to unlap himself. Kurt Busch trying to get back in front of the 4.
Well, the 4 of Kevin Harvick's not just going to pull over and let him go, because that's going to cost the 4 time. He's going to make the 41 go by.
He did.
As quickly as you said it, he did it.
So let me get this straight. He races him. Well, the 41 must have finally put enough pressure on him that the 4 thought it was inevitable. So he gave him the outside getting into 1. I didn't think Kevin Harvick would do that. That's made life much easier for the 41. Another car having a good recovery. You showed early the damage to the nose of the 22 on the initial start of the race. They've put some tape on the upper grille, the lower grille. You look at this Ford, it doesn't quite look stock anymore. They're doing a nice job just in front of Jimmy Johnson making his 600th start. Well, just behind Joey Logano, the 47 of A.J. Allmendinger running 19th. We talk about this place being compared to a road course just because they shift. I don't think it drives like a road course, but you got to think that this is an important stretch for A.J. here, and more importantly, perhaps Watkins Glen next week for his chance to make the playoffs right here. This is one of the best battles we've seen at the Glen. That was back in 2014. You see the fist pump and the excitement out of A.J. Allmendinger. Well, he doesn't need to win this week, Dale, but I think a good run, even though it doesn't, you know, equate to Watkins Glen, just the momentum. Run good here at Pocono, going to Watkins Glen, excited to be there.
You know, AJ's circle Watkins Glen is a must-win for that team. If they got any shot at sneaking into the playoffs, and he's going to go there with that attitude and make it happen. He's going to run the Xfinity race as well. So this is a great shot. I like this because this is probably the best shot we've ever had to be able to see what's on the dash. What do these guys have on their dashes? Because everybody does their dashes differently. You see, he's got old style gauges on his dash. And some guys do the digital readout, numeral readouts, what have you. They're getting a little loose there. Water bottle bouncing around. Downshift into turn 3 here. What kind of balance he's got. Looks like he's pretty good there. No, lateral grip looks good. Didn't have to chase the back any. This is is a tough shift here. I've made that mistake a few times and gone into second gear instead of fourth. Breaking the motor. Turns the wheel. He's got a lot of wheel in that thing. Some waves here, some bumps through the racetrack right here, trying to get the power down. Chase the back just a little bit up against the fence.
I'm asking myself, is that gauge supposed to be red? I mean, I don't know, right? Maybe they keep it red so you can...
Talking about no grip at all. He won't grip on both ends. That's hard to fix.
The key to those gauges is just to not look at them.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think I ever watched the gauges much driving around the racetrack. If something went wrong, we would have the whole panel flash red or flash yellow, and that would let you know, hey, look down here. And let's see what's going wrong when the whole thing starts flashing. Otherwise, you really don't watch the gauges much going around the racetrack. Till something's not, something don't sound right or something's not running right. This is always touchy.
Yeah.
Lap cars coming out, trying to blend. They're trying to, get up to speed, but stay out of the way, and it takes the groove away. There's really not two grooves in turn 1 and 2. Make it work there.
And this is one of the few racetracks where you don't have to stay below that yellow line, lead at pit road.
You hope that guy stays on the yellow line as tight as he can, doesn't drift up.
Kevin Harvick out front, 2.6 seconds separating the 4 and the 20 of Eric Jones.
Green flag pit stops back underway here at Pocono. That's the 78 of Martin Truex Jr. He said something flew off the car in front of him at one point, hit him in the nose of the 78. They're going to check that out. Meanwhile, that's the 9 of Chase Elliott, who said the handling of his car was a little bit better that run, although it started to free up just at the very end.
A little bit of stumble by the tire carrier there. He looked like he was trying to get something. They talked about brake issues, maybe that debris out of the brake duct. And when Martin was pulling away, didn't look like he was able to grab anything that might have been in there.
I think he did get it out. Taking a look at the car coming off pit road, it looked a little bit cleaner. Martin's has some trash in the brake duct on the right front. Talking about its brakes, so if they can get that out, it should repair that issue. Dave.
Pretty good right now for the 20 of Eric Jones on pit road again. Just a slight air pressure adjustment. Right side tires on and lefts as well, Marty.
Hey, Dave, maybe you can help Kyle Busch out. He said he needs more strawberries. That's code for what the adjustment he wanted on the race car to Adam Stevens to the back end. Held on much longer on that run, so pretty happy with the 18 the further they ran. Kevin Harvick, our leader, will be coming next time. Dave?
Marty, for the first time in a while, they're not working on the front of the 22. That's a good sign. Still adjusting the handling a little bit now that they've got that nose. Different than it started the race, but fixed.
Leader Kevin Harvick hits pit road here. He had nothing to say about the chassis. Very happy with it during that run. The only thing they did say on the radio, Tim Fedowa, his spotter, reminded him of those curbs in turn 2 that Rodney Childers wanted him to take care of and not be mindful of taking care of those tires. Right behind him, Alex Bowman on pit road. He said his car started free, got tighter the longer they ran. And for him, it's going to be 4 fresh Goodyear tires and air pressure adjustment as well.
Marty mentioned the curbs right there. If you're ever going to damage a tire, it would be right now on low air. We'll take a look at this 88 coming to pit road. It seems like he had a little trouble locking the tires up. Not the only guy today, but whew, the rear tires locked up for a while there. And as I was saying, right here, as you see the 88 leave pit road, that low left side air, this would be the time, Dale, that I would ask my driver to say, stay off the curbs or stay off that apron for a little while, because this would be the lap that you would damage them.
Absolutely. You could actually separate the shoulder of the tire away from the tread of the tire, beating on that apron with a tire with low air pressure. Create some real issues, big chunks, big problems. Saw him braking on the pit road, locking up the rear brakes. Guys are out there adjusting their brakes as they're racing. And sometimes you put a lot of rear brake in it, trying to get the car to turn on the entry. And then you come to pit road and forget about that. You forget you've made that adjustment. You lock them rear brakes up. So it's important to get some information from your spotter, your crew chief, before you come to pit road to set your brakes back to 0, or so you get to pit road comfortably.
Back of that race car, I saw Super Bowl champions right there. Of course, the Philadelphia Eagles on the paint scheme for the 88. Thursday, September 6th, that's football. It's back. It's going to be celebration in Philadelphia. The Eagles raise their Super Bowl banner, the first one, before they host the Atlanta Falcons. The new NFL regular season that kicks off Thursday, September 6th on NBC.
Already started this week talking about when we're going to schedule our drafts for our fantasy teams. Excited.
Now, do you take all of the Redskins players, or?
I mean, no. I don't want.
You have to separate your heart in your fantasy.
And your fantasy?
Yes.
I get that. Kyle Larson now trying to get by William Byron in the 24. Got right up to the back bumper, and William Byron moved up. Kyle Larson went right by. Getting past the 00 of Landon Castle, and now trying to close the gap on the 41 of Kurt Busch.
See him jumping that outside line, trying to get the draft off the 41. I mean, that's how long that straightaway is. The draft works really, really well down the front straightaway. Trying to get all you can out of the car in front of you is really important to be able to move forward, close that gap.
Also helps you set up for the corner, gets your entry into the corner. So it does everything. Helps you aerodynamically, helps your entry.
He's using that apron.
We talk about Kevin Harvick, how, you know, he's been so much better, but these guys are still racing themselves. They don't even have Kevin Harvick in their mind right now. They're racing each other exceptionally hard. Good race right here.
That entry, he entered into turn 3 high, running a higher line, and that's our guy, Kyle Larson. He's going to find a second, third groove at Pocono. He's going to be the guy to find it. There is a little bit of a second groove or a third groove or higher groove in turn 3. Give me here. Look at his arc. Higher in both corners. He's not going to run in the tracks of that 41. That's where the dirty area is.
He's going to try to pass him on the outside.
He is. He's going to go where the dirty area isn't. Try to keep that air on his car. Clean air on his car. He's going to make that pass.
Remember, he's got newer tires than Kurt. Kurt pitted much earlier.
See the 42 of Kyle Larson. A lot of complaints about brakes today, and this is why. Look at the brake dust come out of the wheels on those pit stops. This is a great look at the 37 of Chris Buescher. It's 2.5 miles long, but still a lot of brakes used here at Pocono.
Caution at Pocono. Corey LaJoie with an accident off of turn 3. And you're seeing these leaders who had not pitted yet on pit road, including Brad Keselowski, who said his car almost took off too good. Also, Jamie Murray said his biggest problem, tight going into turn 1. That's what he's struggling with, Kelly.
Daniel Suarez has led 28 laps. He says the 19 car fires off pretty good, but then it just gets tighter and tighter as they run to make a chassis adjustment to help them with that, along with 4 Goodyear tires and Sunoco fuel.
And the race off pit road. Those are the drivers that had not come to pit road yet. They were top 5, and a couple others took advantage of that opportunity. Reason for the caution, Corey LaJoie. You see him already. The back of the car was into the wall, then having to ride at turn 3. Only the second caution of the day here at Pocono.
Junior, 15 to go, stage 2. You know what this caution helped me do?
Set your lineup.
Oh, it reminded me, if I'm going to make a change, go to the garage. I have Kevin Harvick in my garage, so I might be making that change. But if you're playing NASCAR Fantasy Line, now is the time. 15 laps to go in stage 2 here at Pocono. Go to your lineup, make a change. If your garage guy is doing better, you need to put him in. I'm getting ready to do that right now.
And a few guys came to pit road. Let's get an update. We go to Marty.
Rick, you know, the most earth-shattering thing about all that is that Steve had Kevin Harvick in his garage. You better put him in the lineup, Stevie. And another guy to watch out for Kyle Busch, who said his car was much better at the end of that run. He's running 4th, Dave.
Marty, Kurt Busch is going to come back down pit road right now. They're going to get the lug nuts tightened on the car. They can actually see data when the gun may not give the proper RPMs to put the lug nuts on tight. So they came down just in case to make sure it was okay, Cal.
Chase Elliott won a stage last week at New Hampshire. He won stage 1 here in Pocono, but this is a team desperate for a win. He's restarting here on the front row. We'll see if he can keep pace with that very quick 4 car of Kevin Harvick.
We mentioned Kevin Harvick. Let's listen into his radio.
Just FYI, everybody's in the same boat that's already fitted, but there's only 2 sets of stickers left and 1 set of scuffs. So you got your qualifiers and 2 sets of stickers. So at the stage end, you'll put 1 set on. That leaves you 1 set of stickers in the middle of the last stage.
So basically, that's Rodney Childers updating Kevin Harvick on what the tire situation is. 74 laps to go. That's going to make it difficult for these crew chiefs figuring out a way to beat the 4 car, right? I mean, because Dale, you just can't come and put a set of tires on you don't have. Everybody's going to have to stop probably at least a couple times for fuel. Kind of ties your hands a little bit on.
Yeah, there's just enough tires to finish the race, really. There's not a way for guys to get an advantage with getting a set of tires on late, because it's going to take about all the tires you have to finish the race.
And I think also interesting, they said they had a set of scuffs. You really don't want to put scuffs on. They're not as good as stickers, but you might slide a set of scuffs on now at the next stop, so you have them at the end of the race. That's a decision teams are going to have to make.
Gonna use them. I like using them early.
Cleaning the tires off, getting ready for the restart. Again, the guys up front all the way through 15th. They did not come to pit road. They stayed out under this most recent caution. And the field approaching the Geico restart zone.
Great start by Harvick here.
What a launch.
Good little push, though, by Jones.
Harvick might want to come down here and block.
Look at those guys on the inside. Daniel Suarez.
Big run by Chase Elliott inside of the 4 of Kevin Harvick. Can he make it work?
It's going to be tough with that 18 on his outside. Not going to have the momentum down the back straightaway here.
Loses second even. So now Kyle Busch has moved up to second. Kevin Harvick, Kyle Busch, Chase Elliott, Eric Jones. The top 4.
See Clint Boyer in that 14 car. He's worked himself up to 6. Remember, he had to start in the back also.
Denny Hamlin in the 11, currently running 5th. Single file as they go through the tunnel turn.
As you see up at the top of the screen, guys continue to fan out. Remember those guys that hadn't pitted yet? They were forced to come to pit road under this yellow. Take tires.
Whoa, big slide on the 42.
Oh, there's going to be contact with the 3.
He's still sliding. Still trying to get the power down. He can't get the power down with Austin Dillon on his bumper.
And that let Jimmy Johnson get on the inside of Austin.
These guys fighting right now for a top 11 spot.
And they're racing hard because behind them you have Jamie McMurray, the blue car, about 4 or 5 back. There it is, black and blue, right behind Austin Dillon. He's on fresh tires. He's trying to use those tires, much like Daniel Suarez, who are on board with now.
And remember, early in the race, he had that penalty. He's worked himself back. He was a lap down and got his lap back. Now he's in 14th spot.
The left side of your screen kind of lays it out. You see Harvick basically all the way back to Austin Dillon in 13th, all pitted in the mid-70s. But right there, McMurray up to 13th, pitted lap 84. That was under yellow. That shows who has the freshest tires.
He saw Suarez coming on that inside lane, turned left, blocked him. Going to see more and more of that as this race winds on.
Great racing back here.
Brad Keselowski in the 2 was out of line. Picked up William Byron.
Got to that left rear quarter panel, Rick. Slowed that 22 down. Took the spot going into the tunnel turn. See William Byron right on the back of the 22 through the tunnel, trying to take advantage of it. That slowed William down.
Here comes Kurt Busch. He goes to the inside of the 24.
That happens so much here in the tunnel turn. Racing in front of you gets stacked up. You really nothing you can do about it. The guy behind you gets momentum and clears you.
That outside in 3 is working pretty well, so Williams able to hold that position. Got a little replay of some contact earlier with Kyle Larson. So see him get loose.
3 does a nice job of not spinning him out. Still a little contact. Well, this would be a good view.
It looks calm, but inside that helmet, man, there's flames and stuff going on. It's so maddening when you can't get going like you need to, and the guy behind you's got his front bumper and your back bumper.
Ryan Blaney just in front of Brad Keselowski. It's Austin Dillon. Marty.
Hey guys, Kevin Harvick, not a word on the radio, and he said, you know what, the speed we have this weekend for us is really a testament to the guys at Stewart-Haas, because I admit this is not my best place. As you mentioned earlier, Rick, he is 0 for 35 at Pocono, trying to break that streak here today. Kyle Busch right behind him. These two guys started 28th and 29th on the field today. Now they're running 1-2. Kyle saying his car much better on the longer runs here, Kelly.
Chase Elliott spotter Eddie DeHaan has been telling him exactly where Kevin Harvick in that 4 car has been running, trying to help Chase out, but they had a great qualifying, a good car. Crew Chief Alan Gustafson thinks that's because shifting suits their engines, Dave.
And Kelly, for some of those starts that head down into turn 1 with 5 wide, Eric Jones told me, I don't have an extra spotter down there. I use the air. I said, what do you mean? He said, my eyes don't work that great down there. My spotter can't see down there. And I don't use my ears, but I can use the air I feel to tell if I'm clear, Marty.
Hey, 4-time Pocono winner Denny Hamlin having a very nice run today. He's complained about a little bit of brake fade in the 11 car, but he said chassis-wise, the car much better so far on this early run.
And we got that report from Kelly trying to give Chase Elliott some information about what Kevin Harvick is doing, and that's all great, but he's not driving Kevin Harvick's car. And when you're a driver and your car won't go that fast, and telling him what he's doing, you just can't do it.
In the Gander Outdoors 400, Kevin Harvick right now with almost a 2-second lead over second place Kyle Busch. There's going to be a lot to talk about after this one. Kevin Harvick starting 29th. Make sure to join us for post-race. Followed by IndyCar from Mid-Ohio. They'll be racing Mid-Ohio, and of course, speaking about IndyCar, they come here to Pocono actually Sunday, August 19th. That race is going to be on NBCSN. Will Power, he's been very good here. As a matter of fact, won here last year on the Indy 500. Guy has got this place figured out.
Well, Jeff, you just asked me, hey, you think the 20 of Eric Jones is going to do this again? That's the question, right? As we come to the end of this second stage, which one of these cars inside the top 10 might try to jump the pit road before the end of the stage? And it looks to me like here they come, Marty, a whole line of cars.
Yeah, the Gibbs car's coming down pit road. Kyle Busch and Denny Hamlin going to pit right here. Kyle, very few complaints about the car. He pits from second place for fresh Goodyear tires. The call from Adam Stevens. Also for Denny Hamlin, his teammate right in front of him, going to be 4 Goodyear tires as well. Denny say he's struggling with the car tight on exit of turn 3, Dave.
Denny's teammate Eric Jones does the strategy again, Steve. And by the way, 4 fresh Goodyear tires, a Phillips Sunoco fuel, adjustments on a car that was loose, Kelly.
The 78 of Martin Truex Jr. employed this same strategy in stage 1. They're doing it again here in stage 2. They checked out the nose for any damage from debris, said it looks okay. The 19 of Daniel Suarez also making his pit stop.
Again, the rule with stage racing is they will close pit road 2 laps to go. As soon as the race leader crosses the start-finish line with 2 laps to go, they close pit road. That's why we saw everyone diving in with 3 to go.
Well, and so now if you're the 4 of Kevin Harvick, you see this 78, you were hoping to put him a lap down. Look how close the 78 was to going a lap down. That's the risk of that strategy, Junior. I love the plan. It gets me excited when I see guys try to do things to gain an advantage.
I was going to say, man, you're jumping around in this booth. I know the 2 races we won here, you used the strategy to put ourselves in position to win. So I want to ask you who you think's got the best strategy right now.
Well, right now, I thought, well, Kevin Harvick looked good, but we didn't see 1 or 2 cars. What was there? I think 6 cars that hit pit road. So Harvick's going to instantly lose some track position under this next break. That's going to be tough for the 4 to decide.
Right now. Steve, talking with Mike Wheeler real quick, you know, they say, hey, how are we going to beat the 4 car? We've got to do something different than what they're doing. So that's why they took the advantage of coming down pit road. They won't pit at the end of the stage here. Everybody will have to pit in this final stage one more time.
I'm telling you, if I'm Rodney Childers in the 4 car, it's a big gamble, but I would perhaps consider staying out at the end of this stage.
So I wonder if Rodney Childers had in his head that if he did that same strategy, everybody else would have done something different.
Yeah.
He's so much better than the field. So if it's easy to say the 4 car should have pitted right then and played the same strategy, but then maybe everybody else stays out. And then when the next stage starts, they have a little bit fresher tires. But you know, that's when you got the fastest car, man, people are not going to follow you. They're going to do something different.
As well as they shouldn't. Good for them.
We've seen it time and time again, week after week.
And checkered flag will fly once again for Kevin Harvick. He wins stage number 2. 10th stage win already. And now the 33rd playoff point for Kevin Harvick. Part of the Big 3 and the leader of the Big 3. 6 wins already in 2018. And still trying to check off the list, Pocono as a win. He has never won at this racetrack. The domination by 3 drivers. 15 wins between the 3 of them. And it has been all Harvick today, even starting 29th.
End of stage 2. The leaders pitting here. Kevin Harvick said his car was tight in the center of all 3 corners, but not bad. The only adjustment Rodney Childers is making, that 3-inch piece of tape they just put on the front grille. That's it. Kelly?
Clint Boyer pits from the 3rd position. He's been really happy with his 14 car. They're not calling for any changes, just 4 tires and fuel. Then you've got the 9 of Chase Elliott. He said his car is kind of leveled off balance-wise. He's decent getting into the turns. Feels really good through turns 1 and 2. 4 tires and fuel.
Casey Kane, 2-tire stop. They're trying anything on pit road as we see the race off of pit road. Most folks taking 4 tires, but there were a And it's time now for the Toyota Social Spotlight. I want to go to Kristen Boda at the Peacock Pit Box.
That's right. Our question was, who of the Toyota drivers would you like to take a selfie with? Daniel Suarez did a selfie session here at Pocono Raceway, and you guys responded. Mason said, hard not to go with Kyle Busch. After all, my family named our dog after him, Rowdy. That's a good one. Denise says, I'm going to go with Martin Truex and his girlfriend Sherry Pollock. They're my favorite power couple. Good choice. And Shining Smiley 1 says, Denny Hamlin and I won't bring lobsters. Maybe. I'm going to take a selfie down here with my crew at the Peacock Pit Box. So that's what we're going to do down here while you guys get ready for stage 3.
Are we actually in that? Were we in that because we were somewhat on camera?
That's a stretch.
Okay.
I don't think she wanted us in it.
That's a good point. Absolutely would have ruined the selfie.
Rick, you mentioned guys staying on the racetrack. That 24 of William Byron, he had pitted at lap 84. And Darian Grubb, you know, sometimes you have to try to make a little luck. He stayed on the racetrack. He figures he can make it on 1 more stop, Dale, so he stays on the racetrack.
All right, so what's his strategy going forward? When do you think he comes to pit road?
So he's going to have to stretch it, because from lap 84 to where we're at in the race right now, he's going to run probably 35 with these yellows. Try to almost maybe get 40 laps out of this last run right here. So pit around lap 124, lap 125. That's right in the window of 35 to go, which they know they can make on green. So it's an aggressive call, but I like their planning. The big question for them is going to be the restart. You and I have had this situation, right? When you work this strategy, you have to get a good restart. You have to use that clean air. If you have a bad start, you fall back instantly. It kind of kills the strategy.
Right. Plus, with the older tires, if you get behind 2, 3, 4 cars with those older tires, all those guys behind you with new tires are just going to overtake you so quickly. You're just going to drop like a rock. So then that strategy is just ruined.
I think he thought other guys, Burton might have done that strategy with him.
Yeah, so how do you beat Kevin Harvick on a day where he has the field covered? You do something different. So right now, we're getting ready to drop the green flag on the 3rd and final stage. He's starting 9th. I mean, he's had the fastest car, drove it from the back, won stage 2, and he's going to restart 9th. And we've seen him drive through the field, but we've also seen him not be that easy at times, catching good cars, having a little bit of trouble passing because of the aerodynamic deficiency behind cars. And every car in front of him now is a quality car. He's not going to be able to fly up through there like he did at the start of the race.
All right, before the green flag comes out on the final stage, let's go back to pit road for some updates. Marty.
Well, Rick, the something different that the Joe Gibbs Racing cars did was they pitted before 2nd stage ended, and they're able now to be 2nd through 5th. Denny Hamlin hasn't won at Pocono in 8 years. He would love to change that today. Car's been pretty good for Hamlin. Can he get enough on this restart to get him out front, Dave?
And Marty, Eric Jones is trying to pick up where he left off yesterday. What did he do yesterday? Almost beat the best truck on the track. Racing the truck, racing an emergency call. Couldn't quite get by Kyle Busch. Maybe he can get by Kevin Harvick and everybody else today. Kelly?
But it was their teammate teammate Daniel Suarez in that 19 car that started this race from pole. He has led 28 laps. He came into this race 94 points below the cut line, trying to make up some ground there, but the cure-all to get into the playoffs, of course, would be a win. He restarts third.
And it all comes down to this. 55 laps to go in the race. You have people on different strategies. William Byron, he's going to have to come to pit road a little bit earlier than Kyle Busch, Daniel Suarez, Eric Jones, Denny Hamlin, Eric Almirola, Martin Truex Jr., all on a different strategy than everyone who came to pit road under this last caution at the end of stage 2. Up front, Byron, Kyle Busch. Green flag flying once again.
Byron gets in the throttle, but Kyle Busch matches him on the restart. Both drivers getting good pushes here.
This corner is so important for the 24 as he gets a big shove in the back end, wiggles around. He's got to clear the 18 for these old tires to work.
Oh, Daniel Suarez.
Jamie McMurray way up the racetrack. The race for the lead still going on. William Byron has it.
Yeah, William.
And here comes Eric Jones taking second away.
Man, 118 must have not got off the corner there too well.
Look at this chaos behind him.
William Byron out in front.
He's trying to do what he can on them older tires, Steve, and that's what he's got to do. He's got to try to hold that track position as long as he can.
I love it. He's fighting for his crew chief, Darian Grubb, willing to make a big call. He's doing all he can on the racetrack, and here's the dominant car, the Ford Kevin Harvick, stuck in traffic, Rick.
He's actually lost spots. He's actually back in 11th place. That's what we talked about. These restarts are chaos. Took the best car, put it back in the middle of the pack, and he's actually gone backwards.
See those guys clipping the grass in turn 3. That could throw it. That's enough grass to create some issues for these guys to get that on their grill. They take these grills to precision. A little bit of grill cover from some debris like that. Give you some overheating issues, and all these guys back here now could be facing those problems.
All the congestion slowing down that 4 of Kevin Harvick. As a matter of fact, it's moved him back. Now, can he fight back and get back up there and challenge for the lead? William Byron, what an incredible restart he has. He had 13 laps less or more on his tires than Eric Jones, Kyle Busch, Daniel Suarez, all the guys he was fighting for the lead with, and he went out and proved that he could take the lead away. Kelly.
And how about the job of William Byron in that 24? His crew chief Darian Grubb told me they were really excited about the speed in their car. He said we were really good at the end of practice and even more excited by the speed that we showed in qualifying. He told me, hey, we can do some things with strategy here, be a little aggressive. This is another team that needs to win likely to get into the playoffs. You got to like the call made there by Darian Grubb.
Daniel Suarez, man, he's put some pressure on this 18 car. Eric Jones putting pressure on our leader. We'd expect that with the old tires that William Byron has, but Daniel Suarez getting that track position back that he's fought for all day long after starting on the pole.
Well, Eric Jones completely missed the tunnel right there. He's going to lose second position to the 18 of Kyle Busch.
Chase Elliott able to clear Eric.
Here we are. Here's the battle.
Almirola, and now here's Kyle Busch. Again, he's got a mere full of the 20 of Eric Jones, and Suarez back there as well. Joe Gibbs Racing running second, third, fourth, and the 11 of Denny Hamlin back there as well in fifth. Want to listen in to William Byron's radio about these tires.
Yeah, I tried to save some tire, but it's pretty impossible there. Sorry. You did great.
That's a crew chief, or that's a driver saying, listen, I understood the strategy. I knew we were going to stay out, so I tried to save a little tire before the end of the stage. Wise, beyond his years for such a young race car driver.
Look at this battle. These guys back here, I'm watching this 4 car trying to work his way around this traffic, get this track position back.
He's got a long way to go.
Yeah.
I mean, all the cars in front of him, but on top of that, he's almost 3.5.
Oh, look at that.
Oh,
the 2 of Keselowski out of the groove.
It's race time now, man. This is it. The stages are over. The stage breaks are over. These guys have came to pit road. 51 laps to go.
Big run by Austin Dillon. He's going to take the spot away from Keselowski.
And Brad not happy with that contact. He said unreal was his only comment.
Oh, I imagine he ain't happy. Nobody wants to get run over like that in the corner, but you can't wait. You got to go.
Let's take another look at it down here.
Looks like Brad just tried to close the door there, and 42 says, I can't give up that position. I can't lift here. I'm coming up on this straightaway. If I lift right there, guys behind me are going to be on my door.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Larson did nothing wrong right there. If you lift right there, you're going to be 3 wide down the front straightaway with people just blowing by you. No choice but to go right there.
50 to go. This 24 car needs 14 more good laps before his pit window opens. Currently holding off the 18 for the lead. Even if he loses the lead, Rick, this is a car that was running outside the top 15 most of the day. He's flipped the strategy, trying to make it work. 14 more laps for the 24 before he can pit.
Steve, as hard as he's going to have to run, does he have to worry about potentially saving fuel? Because will he be running so hard to stay in front of the 18 that he could maybe jeopardize getting to that window?
Well, Darian Grubb should absolutely understand their lap times are better, but I'm sure he told him under all those yellows, shut it off, save gas under those yellows.
I'm afraid he's going to lose this lead real short. The pressure from the 18 is going to be too much. As 18 starts to close the gap quicker and quicker, he sees that 18 getting bigger and bigger in that mirror. He starts to lose hope of his ability to hold this lead.
And remember, he's 20. He's 20 years old.
It's going to get really tough right here. Kyle's got to run on him. See if he puts that pressure on. He turns a little bit early, shows him, hey, I want this spot.
William Byron fighting for his first win.
Off the bottom.
There it is.
A little bit.
We see that every time, don't we, Junior?
Yeah,
that move, just take that air off the 24.
William looks in the mirror and sees that car getting bigger and just overdrives turn one a little bit too much there.
Kyle Busch takes the lead away. Here comes Eric Jones. He's going to go to the inside, also trying to get by William Byron, very close.
And look at this run Suarez had.
Look at this damage to the 41.
Got a left front tire
left
down.
front tire down. He got into the wall. No caution has come out. See the sparks flying now.
Don't look like he hit anything with the right side in turn one when he went up the racetrack. He's just going to try to get around. You know, you talked about guys using that apron in the tunnel. Maybe he was hitting that apron a little bit, chunked that tire out, had a left front tire give up on it. We've seen left front tires.
He's already up the racetrack. Looks to me that the left front's already flat.
Guys,
did a nice job not having more damage if he went into turn one with the left front flat. You see Kevin Harvick trying to recover, working on Jimmy Johnson for the 9th position. We go NASCAR nonstop.
Intensity picking up in the Monster Energy Cup Series racing from Pocono Raceway. 45 laps to go to find out who will win here in Pocono. Want to take a look at today's Ram Trucks proven to last keys.
Well, let's start with this 4-car team and Kevin Harvick. Can they do everything they need to do to execute to win this race? Remember, with different strategy, they restarted 9th after 11 laps of green flag racing. He's only back to 7th, now trying to get 6th place. He hasn't marched forward like he needs to. Can he pull it off with only 44 to go?
Another thing we need to keep an eye on is aggressive restarts. Get these late race restarts with the length that you have from the start finish line to turn one, all the side drafting, 3, 4, 5 wide that we have. This race isn't won until somebody can get clear off of turn 2. So there's a lot happening on those restarts down through turn 1.
And the big picture, the playoff picture, right behind Kevin Harvick, you see the 88 of Alex Bowman. Currently sits 16th on the playoff grid, just barely in. He scored points at both the first and the second stage. Can he close out the great day and try to assure him a spot in the playoffs?
All right, guys, let's go through the field. Brought to you by Applebee's. We'll start with Marty and that 18 out front.
Hey, Rick, you know these teams always use code words. Adam Stevens told me they change their codes on the 18 every week, twice now. Kyle Busch has asked for more strawberries. I think that means he wants his car tightened up a little bit, but on every stop, they've made it better on the longer run, Kelly.
His teammate Daniel Suarez started from the pole position for the first time, and his crew chief Scott Graves told me, look, this is a new experience for us all, and the important thing is that we learn from it. They went back and watched the starts of races and restarts, trying to prepare as best they could. He said, look, if it doesn't work out for us, at least we'll have had this experience for the next time we start up front. They've used strategy to maintain track position. Second right now, Dave.
No code words for Eric Jones on the 20 car. He just hasn't liked the way it's handled today, although he's still running third. Led 11 laps earlier. He said, you know what to do on the final stop. We'll see what they do, Kelly.
Behind him is the 9 car of Chase Elliott, and while they've had got some strong races still yet to find victory. Lane Allen Gustafson told me, hey, bottom line is we have got to win a race, but we don't want to luck our way into anything. Said if we keep running out front like they did last week at New Hampshire and like they've been doing here today, said at least we're giving ourselves a chance, Marty.
Kelly, it's been a solid day for Denny Hamlin and the 11 team. Solid is okay, Denny told me before the race. He said right now all we need to do is put together good finishes, so a solid top 5 would be very good, and that's where he sits right now. Behind him, though, Kevin Harvick marching up through the field, and you can just tell that veteran poise behind the wheel and up on the roof with 10 feet away. When they fell back to 15th, no panic in this team. They've driven their way back to 6th. And how about this run for Alex Bowman? Sitting in 7th, he comes in just barely above the cut line, sitting there at the bottom of the playoff grid. But if he finishes top 10 today, that will do wonders for their playoffs hopes this year, Kelly.
And how about the run by the 14 of Clint Boyer with just a handful of races left before the playoffs? He told me it's kind of a tricky part of the season. He said when the playoff spot starts, you have a new rabbit to chase. He said right now, these last few races ahead of that, he really needs to stay focused and build some momentum heading into those playoffs.
Eric Almirola running in the 9th position now. They didn't worry when I talked to him earlier about starting back in the pack as they were when they were here in the spring. Started 34th and finished 7th. Learned a lot that day. In fact, Eric came into the race saying, this is one of my least favorite tracks. And he came away saying, I really like Pocono. Kelly?
The rookie William Byron was able to stave off the veterans for 10 laps that he's led in this race. He likes this track. He's called Pocono entertaining, and his crew chief Darian Grubb said there's enough going on at this track that he can really put his data-driven mind to work. He loves to study, and that studying has paid off, Dave.
Kyle Larson recovering from a spin yesterday that damaged the 42 just a little bit in practice. Wasn't too bad, though, Chad Johnson, the crew chief, said, and today has just been battling a little bit of trouble in turn 3, Kelly.
And Jimmy Johnson, who also had to start from the rear, worked his way up to the 12th position. Remember, this is his 600th career start. As you see the 2 of Brad Keselowski there get underneath him. His crew chief saying, hey, I'm not big on milestones, but when you think of everything that Jimmy Johnson has accomplished in his relatively short stock racing career, he said it's pretty impressive.
Oh, look at the 2. The tire goes down on Keselowski's car.
Hold on to it, hold on, hold the brake, hold the brake, hold the brake.
Right rear tire looked as it went down just as he was racing against the 48.
Coming to you.
Caution comes out for just the 4th time.
Here comes the last car, start moving. I don't think we hit, did we? Oh yeah, I blew a tire in the corner.
And you don't see that too often, right rear tire fail. I wonder how that happened. Scary.
I blew a rear tire in the corner and it's wrecked.
Any entrance here, it's going to be high speed. Blow the right rear, you instantly have no right rear grip. Wow.
Pretty much done here.
Surprised he drove it as well as he did up to the fence. See the contact.
He got to slow down a lot better than I thought he was.
I was surprised that wasn't a bigger wreck.
Yeah, you blow a right rear entering the corner at 195 in the tunnel turn. Look right here.
Already down soft as he started to turn the wheel.
Yeah, you just wonder if he made contact, ran over something. Obviously, the air went out of the tire.
We talk about brakes now. I was noticing on his car, he's got the yellow wheels, and you can see a lot of brake dust, even on the rear wheels. He had maybe a heat issue with the rear brakes and the right rear brake. We see that sometimes.
You mentioned a heat issue with the brakes. 39 to go. This is going to become a fuel issue for most of these race teams. I expect everyone to pit when pit road is open. You see them assessing the 2 car. It's going to be hard to get that one back on track. But, guys, we talked about what we said at the beginning of the show, 35, 36, maybe 37 laps. Well, this will be 38 to go when they come around, pit road's open. I expect everyone to pit, max fuel. We'll see who can save a couple laps.
And, Steve, you have 1 set of scuffs and 1 set of stickers left. What are you putting on right here, scuffs or stickers?
Oh, I'm putting the stickers on. I'm assuming from here I'm staying out. So here all the leaders come. Marty.
And Kyle Busch, the leader, comes down pit road. He said, when I'm out front, I need a little bit of help with the rear end. He said, in traffic, I need front help. So he said, what do you want to do? To Adam Stevens. He also wants ice and a little water inside the car, 4 fresh Goodyear tires, and an air pressure adjustment, Dave.
The 20 car will not turn, according to the driver, so he'll take 4 fresh Goodyear tires with an air pressure adjustment and a full load of Sunoco fuel, Kelly.
18 of Daniel Suarez says he's a little bit free getting into the corners and getting out of them, a little bit tight across the center. It's going to be 4 Goodyear tires and Sunoco fuel for the 19.
And the race off pit road. So that 18 will win the race off the pit road, hold his position. Suarez also holding his spot. Kevin Harvick looked like he might not have had as great a stop as what he was hoping for. He's dropped a couple positions. The restart when we come back. Still 37 laps to go in the Gander Outdoors 400 NASCAR Monster Energy Cup Series. And we're looking forward to next week as well. Watkins Glen, guess what? Broadcasters in different parts of the track. A little bit of a radio style broadcast for next week's Watkins Glen broadcast. That one at 3 Eastern. I know, Jeff, you were a part of that.
It's awesome going out on the racetrack. Junior, you're going to have a good time, man. I know. Go out there with the fans, stand out there, see them having a good time. It kind of makes you want to get in there with them.
I'm going to be in the interlude. That should be fun. I would ask you what corner you're going to be in, Jeff, but we'll never get the number right.
The next to last one. The next to last one.
We are going to be talking about Watkins Glen all week long. We look forward to that. NASCAR America, 5 o'clock. We'll be talking about My Home Track. That's coming back from a lot of the local tracks there in the New York area. And on Wednesday, the special guest with Dale, as we see the 4 has come back onto pit road.
Rick, they had contact on pit road with their teammate Eric Almirola as he was pulling out. They hit Kevin Harvick in the left rear, and you can see that damage on the left rear. That's like a parachute, Steve. So they're going to have to fix that. The brace is broken there. They did have Kurt Busch, their teammate, pull up beside him. He said, I don't think the left rear will rub, but Rodney Childers said, it's not worth the risk to me. I want to make sure we had this correct. So the fastest car all day long, Kevin Harvick, came from 29th to the lead. He's going to go to the back of the pack, and they hope they will not have a left rear tire rub, Dave.
Marty, Eric Almirola gives up 11th position to work on that right front that tagged the left rear of the 4. The only, gosh, is there any bright side to this? They get to top off the fuel, possibly an extra lap?
I don't think there's much good coming from this, unfortunately.
You could say that's a bright, barely a bright side.
You're trying, though, Dave.
I'm looking for the silver lining, doggone it.
Marty.
Well, they wanted to make sure they took their time. Rodney Childers told the guy, in fact, Kevin shut the car off at one point to save fuel here on pit road because it is very tight to make it to the end of the race here. He said, let's make sure it's correct. And that's the benefit of these long caution laps here at Pocono. You have time to make sure the car is correct. Now, can the fastest car come back through the field again with 36 to go? That may be a different story.
So the problem started when Kevin Harvick launched off. The 88 was on the outside of him. The 4 car did not have a good pit stop. Now they're 3 wide. The 10 trying to come out onto the pits right here. There's nowhere Kevin can go because Alex Bowman's there. That all started because the 4 did not have a good pit stop. He should have been in front of the 88.
Well,
and launched.
Jeff, he could have been a pit stall 1.
Yes, he could have.
If they would have passed inspection after qualifying, he'd have been in the first pit stall, would have had to clean out. Remember, he had the fastest lap in qualifying.
Coming back to the green flag. And up front, Kyle Busch, Daniel Suarez. Busch on the outside, Suarez on the inside.
Oh, wow, Mike.
Trying to block right away. Caution's going to come out quickly.
Fluid down low in 1.
And you see smoke out of a car making its way back onto pit road. They're saying fluid on the racetrack.
Huge break for Kevin Harvick. He hadn't even caught up to the pack yet. He wasn't even near the pack when they dropped the green flag.
Landon Castle, the 0-0.
Kind of a huge break for everyone when it comes to that fuel window. We talked about how close they were. With this yellow right here, riding around under Yellowdale, I'd be asking you to shut the car off. This should bring us right into the fuel window.
Let's take a look at what happened here. There you see it, 0-0 on the racetrack with his little engine issues. Yeah, that's the worst thing about saving fuel is shutting that motor off, firing it back up, trying to keep your pace. If you don't keep pace, drivers are trying to pass you and trying to take your position, and crew chief's yelling at you. Save fuel, save fuel, save fuel. Golly, man.
The reason for the caution that came out was the 2 of Brad Keselowski. He thought that he wasn't going to be able to continue. They came onto pit road. They tried to do as much as they could to it, but we just were able to witness the 2 making the hard left turn into the garage area. So it looks like Brad Keselowski's day will be done.
As we ride on board with Kevin Harvick, Jeff, you mentioned that he wasn't even caught up to the field, so that was a big break for Kevin Harvick. The other opportunity this is going to provide is if he doesn't pit too many times, which it looks like he's probably going to stay on the racetrack, he'll be able to line up with the lead lap cars. So he'll be able to pull in front of all of the lap down cars the way NASCAR lines you up. That might sound silly, but I mean, that's 8 or 10 cars you won't have to pass.
Yeah, but he want to come back down and try to straighten that quarter panel out a little more, because you know how important the bodies are on these cars to downforce, and also the crush panel being unsealed or anything like that to create some issues with that, downforce for that car.
He stayed out, so I guess they must feel they already have it, because I'm with you.
And that's what Kevin's asking right now. He wants to make sure they get their spot back, as he's saying, because he's anticipating some wave rounds here too. He doesn't want to start behind all those cars too.
Yeah, so I thought he would pit that first time. I was wrong. The pits were closed. So this next time around, we'll see if he chooses to pit or not. But you're right, Marty. Now it's about understanding the rules. I mean, there are complicated rules as far as how you line up. As a crew chief and as a driver, you need to understand them, and you need to make sure you argue for your spot. Where you line up really matters here.
Checking to make sure there's no fluid on the racetrack, so the safety crews are out around this 2.5-mile triangular track. We'll be back for the restart. You're watching Monster Energy Cup Series racing from Pocono Raceway. Out front, Kyle Busch, Daniel Suarez, 1 and 2. Back on pit road, the 4 of Kevin Harvick. Again, the damage to the left rear when Eric Almirola came out of his pit stall. Caught the left rear, a little bit of damage, so the team's working on that, topping it off with fuel to make sure he can make it without any issues.
Well, let's go inside this car. We have a really cool camera, the Gander Outdoor camera, looking at the left rear quarter panel just in this area right here, and you can see there's really no damage, no serious damage inside the car, Steve.
Yeah, you see the gray painted area is steel, it's welded in, and then the silver area above that, that's aluminum. That gets riveted in, and that's the crush panel that protects Kevin from debris and from fumes. The fact that that's all still intact not only is better for the driver, but better aerodynamically. That will help this race car. Now I think it's just a question of laps, Rick. With 33 to go, I know Kevin Harvick has been a great race car, but there's a lot of cars in the lead lap. He's going to line up really close to 30th, 29th perhath. He's going to need a yellow. He's going to need a timely yellow, I think.
History repeats itself. He was started 29th, and he made it all the way up to 4th.
Yeah, but he had more laps and a green flag pit stop, and no one's going to pit this time. So I think it's going to be less of an opportunity to make time. I'm not saying he can't do it, but it's going to be, how about this? It's going to be exciting to watch whether he makes it or not.
Yes, it
is. I'm going to be pumped.
I know something that's going to be exciting to watch, and that's this restart, and it's because of all this speedy dry they're putting down in the bottom groove, the preferred line in turn 1. So if you're the control car on this restart, you're obviously not going to want to take the inside because of this issue. These guys are going to try to clean this up, but still, this stuff will make it a little bit slick for that first pass through, no matter how much they work on it.
That truck's rubbing it in.
It's all the way around the corner. Like the car that had the issue didn't get to the apron, and it's all the way around the corner in the bottom groove. So there is going to be some big time action on this restart from the second row on back. All these guys battling in row 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 are going to get 3 and 4 wide sliding on top of that stuff. It's going to be wild. Kelly.
It'd be wild, Dave. Let's hear the thoughts of the crew chief on the 19 car, Scott Graves. Scott, first of all, what do you want to see out of Daniel on this restart?
Obviously, you got to be aggressive at this point in the race, and we got to make sure that we can keep this track position. I know it's going to be a little iffy with all the speedy dry AC getting put down there in turn 1, so I know that's not a great feeling, but he's done a great job on restarts today, and I know he'll come through for us.
Just how close is the fuel situation?
We're okay. We're good. All these cautions obviously help, and it looks like it's going to take a little bit yet with the cleanup, so we're good on that part.
All right. Thank you, Scott. Dave?
Chris Gale calls the shots for Eric Jones. I know you've been working hard on this car all day, and he's been not completely happy with it. Where is he right now?
I thought we were about a third-place car there at one time. We've been working on it, and, it's turned out to be a track position race, and I think that's what we've been trying to work on more than anything else. Get it handling a little better, but handles a lot better when it's up front. So, we've been pretty aggressive on strategy, so we'll see how it plays out. Unfortunately, this restart didn't really work out in our favor. We kind of lost a little bit on pit road and then lost one on the quick caution. So we'll see what we got. Long run to the end here.
I was talking to him earlier today about the restarts and that gaggle down in turn 1. What's it like for you to watch that every time and knowing that he doesn't have really spotter coverage down there or anything?
I just hold my breath from here. You know, he can handle it. You know, I don't worry about that too much. I know he's in good shape between Rick and his decision making, so it'll be fine.
All right, we'll watch the 20 and the rest of them, Rick. Restart coming up.
It's going to be interesting. As Junior mentioned, you know that the excitement as they all enter turn 1 is going to be quite a battle. Look at right now the running order, the top 10. Kyle Busch, 5 wins. Eric Jones, 1 win. The rest of the top 10 all searching for their first win this season.
Something else that jumps out at me is, look at that, Chase Elliott 3rd, Jimmy Johnson 7th, Bowman 8th, Byron 10th. All 4 Hendrick cars. Definitely a down year for Hendrick Motorsports. And I bring that up because when you look at the playoff standings, look at the Hendrick cars. 14th, 15th, and 16th. With William Byron being outside the top 20, this could be a big day for those Hendrick cars. While they're still down there close to the red line, they're padding that points lead over Stenhouse Jr. in 17th.
Cleanup continues here in turn 1 and extended. And so we'll take another break and be back for the restart.
Welcome back. Cleanup continues here at Pocono. Alan Gustafson calls the shots on the 9 car for Chase Elliott. Alan, you guys won the first stage. How confident are you now that you have the car in the track position to go after that win?
Yeah, I think we've got a good shot. Napa Chevy's been good, and stops have been good. We've been pretty solid. You know, the Ford's a little faster, but he's ran into some issues. So I think we're slightly quicker than the 2 in front of us, but, you know, passing them is going to be tough, obviously. I need to get a good start on the bottom, and I think we can go to work.
You guys won a stage last week at New Hampshire. You've done it again. What has kind of turned on this team to be running up front?
Yeah, it's a ton of hard work. All these guys on this Napa Chevy and everybody back at HMS, you know, just never quit and just grinding every day. So we got a ways to go, but we got some time to do it.
All right, thank you, Alan. Chase Elliott will restart 3rd, Rick.
Thank you very much.
So, Rick, you see Chase Elliott. You just heard his crew chief talking. He feels like they have a good car. He's starting on the inside. Junior was talking about how dirty the racetrack is down there. The advantage to him, though, is on the outside of him, the 95 of Casey Kane. He's on 2 tires. And Casey Kane is going to play a huge role in who can get a good restart here, because how those 2 tires can go through 1 is going to really affect Eric Jones behind him. And we'll see if somebody makes it 3 wide with Casey Kane.
All right, now the intensity ramps up even more, because when they come back for the green flag, it'll be 28 laps to go. Fuel not an issue anymore. And as Jeff has mentioned, you've got a guy on a 2-tire strategy with Casey Kane is up there in the mix. And we know that it's got to be on the minds of these drivers that they put Speedy Dry down in turn 1, where these guys are going to be upwards of 180 when they get to that turn on this restart. And they got to hope that the cars stick.
It looks like they've cleaned it up good, but it's still got to be 5–10% less grip down there than it will on the outside. We've seen the outside be the dominant line on restarts. That's where I'd want to restart. It does allow the inside guy. If Daniel Suarez can get a good enough restart to stay with the 18 and side draft, because 18 can't go anywhere. He's up against the fence. So side draft him as hard as you can and stay side by side with him, and then just force him up the racetrack in 1 and 2. Don't drive to the yellow line. Run higher. You know, don't allow him to pin you down into that Speedy Dry.
Here we go again. Kyle Busch on the outside. Suarez on the inside. 28 laps to go.
Kyle Busch gets a good jump here. No good pushers behind. But Daniel, see, side drafts, he's there. He doesn't go to the bottom, but still, outside line's the dominant line for Kyle Busch to take the lead.
Kyle Busch easily clearing Daniel Suarez.
3 wide back here on the back straightaway into the tunnel.
And it doesn't stay 3 wide. It goes to 2. William Byron on the outside.
Oh, Casey Kane. I don't know how he didn't wreck right there.
Eric Jones avoided him. Casey Kane in the 95. Jones gets by him. And now Denny Hamlin sideways as he works through 3.
Oh, this is bottling everybody up behind these guys. We're going to have a lot of action on this front straightaway here. And push from William Byron. What's he going to do with that? Stuck behind Denny Hamlin. He's got Larson behind him.
Alex Bowman in the 88 on the inside now.
That bottom's still not quite clean enough. You can see William Byron making it work on the outside there.
The gap between 4th and 5th right now. Eric Jones and Casey Kane a second. Casey Kane holding up the crowd.
Oh, look out. Joey Logano's loose on the inside of Larson there.
See the 22 of Logano.
Almost a crash there.
Blaney behind him. 3 wide now.
Yeah,
Clint Boyer in the 14 was on the inside.
Truex had all kinds of problems through the tunnel as well.
Side by side for positions as they go down into turn 1. Austin Dillon in the 3 on the inside.
That run, Truex.
Truex in the 78 on the inside of Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Riding along with Allmendinger.
It's so difficult back here. Right along with Allmendinger. You see why this tunnel turns so hard. You want to turn early to get some air on the nose of so that 17 doesn't mess you up, but you can't, because if you turn early, you chop the corner, then you can't get off the corner like you need to.
And where's Harvick? Back in 22nd. 26 laps to go.
Run through that dirt. I'm telling you, a little bit of that on the grill. Give you some trouble. These guys are cutting that.
We saw Casey Kane just about lose it leaving a tunnel. Well, here we are. Eric Jones is behind him. He's trying to be in the throttle, carry a lot of speed. Look how sideways he is. Great job by Eric Jones. The pit box. Whoa, whoa, that was close.
Yeah. Chris Gale said, wow. Look at this. A little debris coming off the 95. Marty.
Rick, Kevin Harvick has gained 9 spots right now, and meanwhile his teammate Clint Boyer just in front of him has gained 10 spots since the restart. You know, it's funny, Kevin said one of his biggest issues here in June was traffic early after a restart. We see that happening right now, but starting to make some progress back towards the front. He's about to go around Martin Truex Jr. Harvick up to the 18th spot, trying to get 17th right here.
He's making good ground with 24 to go, and the leader's out there 5, 6, 7 seconds in front of him. I think the 4 of Kevin Harvick's going to need a yellow to have any chance of reeling in Kyle Busch, Daniel Suarez, and Chase Elliott, the front 3 cars.
That's actually 9 seconds now, the gap back to Harvick. So
extended even more.
Not only the laps, but that time, that distance between somebody running in clean air, Kyle Busch out there, and Harvick, who is back there in dirty air and congestion.
Yeah, you probably need a series of cautions, really. I mean, he's been so fast, but it's just not that easy. It's just hard to pass, and these restarts are difficult. Just not going to go from as far back as he was. There's no way.
How about Suarez and Chase Elliott? Their chances up there, running 2nd and 3rd right now. A great opportunity for them.
Well, Rick, they've done a really nice job keeping Kyle Busch in check. Daniel Suarez only 0.6 of a second behind Chase Elliott, a 1.5 seconds, and basically matching Kyle Busch's lap time so far.
I was real impressed with Suarez to be able to...
Oh, sideways again. That time it's Blaney.
That's a big moment.
Not real sure how that wasn't one of those cautions that Harvick was looking for.
We've had about 4 yellows that haven't come out, is what it looks like. 4 wrecks that didn't happen.
That shows you how hard these guys are driving, though, and how difficult these cars are to drive.
And how hard they're pushing it. You know, with 23 laps to go, every position matters, every point matters, and that's why these guys are fighting so hard right now. Harvick continuing to move up. He's running 15th, but he's 11 seconds behind race leader Kyle Busch. And he's got to worry about this, the 12. Blaney sideways on the racetrack. We go nonstop. Under 20 to go. NASCAR Monster Energy Cup Series Gander Outdoors 400 from Pocono Raceway. It's been a gorgeous day for racing. It's been difficult for some, better for others, like Kyle Busch, who started 28th and now out front. Again, we'll talk about all of this during the post-race. That's right after the race, followed by IndyCar. They're racing from Mid-Ohio. Make sure to stay tuned for that. Saw the issues with the 22 of Joey Logano during NASCAR nonstop.
Look at the right side of that car when he's on pit road. Looked like there was some damage to the right front fender, so maybe he had some contact with somebody to cut that tire. That's 2 right rear tires flat for the Penske guys today. It's
all right, Jeff. We've got Kyle Busch out front, and we have Suarez behind him. I know a lot of people were wondering if there was going to be debris out there, but if there's no debris and when this goes green, what can these 2 guys be thinking right now? Kyle Busch obviously doesn't want to caution. Daniel Suarez has to figure out how to catch him.
Well, Suarez, his season is right in front of him. He'll win in this race, could put them in the playoffs, would put them in the playoffs. Without a win, it's going to be very difficult for them to make the playoffs. So he's sitting there looking at it. He's looking at having a chance to go compete for a championship, and he just got to dig deep. He's got to find a way not to overdrive the car, be perfect every single lap. If he's perfect every lap, then maybe he can catch Kyle Busch, but you cannot make any mistakes, because if you do, Kyle Busch ain't gonna make them. You cannot give him a shot to just drive further and further away from you.
Let's take a look at the replay. We got to look at how the 22 got the flat tire, some contact with Larson. Here it is. Tunnel turn, looks like 22 just drifts up into the side of the 42. 22 just loose on the inside of the 42 in the tunnel, and debris on the racetrack. There's a spring rubber. We saw the things falling off of that car as he's trying to get to pit road.
Hit and knocked out of the groove.
Jeff Earnhardt sends that over to the fence. 22 back on the track. Watching the lead up front. Suarez, he'll match Kyle for a lap, and then maybe it's a 10th or maybe even 2/10 slower the next lap. He's not been able to beat Kyle's time, and I've been trying to watch that to hope that maybe Suarez can close that gap. Kelly.
And as we said, Daniel Suarez likely needs a win to get into the playoffs. His crew chief, Scott Graves, told me it's been a little bit of a frustrating year because they had much higher expectations. He said, we just need to start running where we're capable of running. We need to raise our execution level. They feel like they've had too many different issues during races, whether it's a bad pit stop strategy call or just not being able to maintain track position on the track. He said, we just really need to do better. It was 94 points that Daniel Suarez needed to make up to get to the playoffs going into this race. I don't know that he's made much of that up here so far. Another driver looking for his first career win is that 9 of Chase Elliott. Remember, he has finished runner-up 8 different times. Think about what it would mean for this team to get to victory lane. Well, Alan Gustafson just said, hey, it's all related to performance. It's not like we're making a bunch of mistakes week in and week out. We just need a little more speed. A little speed would go a long way. It looks like they have some of that today, Marty.
Kelly, Alex Bowman sitting in 6th, staring at what could be one of his best career finishes. It would be nice if they could finish here. You know, Greg Ives told me, listen, we need to get stage points. That's huge for our race team. They've done that in both stages today. As it stands right now, he would gain 20 points on that cut line. Could be a very pivotal day for Alex Bowman here at Pocono to make the playoffs this year, Kelly.
Yeah, and how about his teammate William Byron in that 24 car? This is another team that feels a little bit disappointed with their season, even in his rookie year. His crew chief, Darian Grubb, telling me they just don't feel like they've been getting the finishes they deserve. But he said, I do feel like we're getting better. They feel like they're getting more consistent as much as they want to keep building on their point situation. He said, look, we need to get a win. A win will get us into the playoffs.
Alex Bowman right there on the line. You see him plus 48 above that cut line, or above Ricky Stenhouse Jr. And coming into this race, it was plus 28. So 20 points. Huge, as there's only going to be now 5 races after today as far as making it into the playoffs.
That's a 1 race cushion. That's what you want as a driver to feel comfortable, is you got 1 race to throw away. If you have a terrible, terrible day, you're still going to be okay. We saw a couple weeks ago Chase Elliott had a 1 race cushion. Now he's way up over 100 points on that 16th position.
I'm going to throw a wrench in that strategy. Yeah. A.J. Allmendinger wins at Watkins Glen.
That changes everything.
He drops out.
That changes everything. That really made it interesting for that battle between all those HMS cars.
The Ford still trying to make some things happen here as the laps wind down. 13 to go. Harvick running 10th, coming up on Jimmy Johnson. 2 veterans of the sport. Jimmie Johnson, his 600th start today. Running in the top 10, obviously, you would never say to a 7-time champion, it looks like you've had a pretty good day, you're running in the top 10. But the year that Johnson has had, you would almost have to say, this is a pretty good turn of events for Jimmie Johnson.
Yeah, if you look at it, all HMS cars are in the top 10, so this would be almost the best day of the season for these guys, to be honest with you. I mean, you're not seeing the speed that you want. I mean, aside from, obviously Chase, he's had a great car these last 2 weeks. You want to see the whole company be in the top 5 when you own 4 cars. You want to see them all run well, but it's definitely some improvement as we move forward deeper into the season. Maybe these guys are starting to make some gains on it.
Kelly, it looks like he's going to lose a spot, though.
Well, yeah, Jimmie Johnson losing that spot there to Kevin Harvick, but still a positive day. It's interesting, when I talked to Chad Knaus earlier today, it was the most positive that I have heard him the last few weeks. In fact, at Chicago, when we first picked up the broadcast, he told me they were hoping for a top 15. I said, did you ever think you'd hear those words coming out of your mouth? And he said, well, that's just the reality of it. Today, he definitely felt like they could get into the top 10. He said, in fact, the last few weeks, they feel like they've been bringing better and better cars to the racetrack, Marty.
Kelly, time running out for Kevin Harvick, and I have been counting for the last 13 laps. He's been a top 5 fast car on the track, but even the car that led 30 laps today and arguably the best car here at Pocono this afternoon, running out of time. They're going to need a caution if they want to get back up there. Harvick 0 for 35 here at Pocono. Jeff, I'm sure you've had a racetrack in your career that you had fast cars at, but somehow you just never were able to get the win. Clearly, Pocono is that place for Kevin Harvick.
Yeah, and it's so frustrating to not get that win, but it's even more frustrating when you have this kind of car and not get a win. It's so hard to win these races that when you have a car, you need to go capitalize. Very, very frustrating.
And you think back, Kevin Harvick may have been in position if they wouldn't have had the damage to the left rear quarter panel and had to come back down and fix that to make sure that they didn't have a tire go down.
Yeah, that extra pit stop was definitely kind of the final move for the 4 that took him out of position.
Want to listen in to Suarez's radio.
Kyle's continuing to back up his entry into 1 just a little bit. He's also traveling just a tick deeper into the tunnel, and he's carrying that speed off. But if you don't feel that's comfortable, just keep doing what you're doing.
I like that, Junior. The last thing he said, that was kind of like, hey, man, if your car ain't doing it, understand. He give you a little bit of an out, but the backing the corner up is important because this is a track where it's real easy to overdrive turn 1. And so it's a good reminder to the driver, hey, make sure you're not overdriving the corner now. I know you want to catch him. I know you want to try to run him down. Sitting there running laps almost as fast as Kyle. Back that corner up. Make sure you're getting in the throttle early. Maximize that exit speed so it travels down the next straightaway. Now, when you say, hey, he's driving in the corner deeper than you, I don't know if you want to tell him to go into the tunnel too deep. Back that corner up. Make that exit fast as you can.
A quick update on Casey Kane. We saw him up in the front a little bit ago. He had to pit a little while ago for tires, and then they got penalized for too many men over the wall, so they're back in 32nd.
Well, we talk about, how is Daniel Suarez going to try to run down the 18. You know what it's going to be, like you said, Jeff, he can't make mistakes. Dale, like you said, he's to back up turn 1 and maybe get a little lucky. Where's the 18 of Kyle Busch going to catch this lap traffic? This lap, Kyle Busch lost 0.4 of a second to Daniel Suarez. The lead now down to 1.5 seconds. I don't think Kyle made a mistake. That's just where he caught traffic.
That's right. You want to get through that traffic faster? That's the only way I think that Daniel, Chase Elliott, and these guys have a chance of catching this 18 and just beating them through lap traffic.
Yeah, I mean, you see another car ahead of the 18. If you catch that car in the wrong spot here in the middle of the tunnel, or maybe on the entrance to turn 3, and you have to get out of your line. Oh, that car does a nice job pulling over, getting out of the way. The 15 says, you know what? I don't want to be in it. Ross Chastain doesn't want to be in the middle of this show. Veteran driver.
You mentioned veteran driver. What a year it has been for Kyle Busch. You think about what happened since his win here a year ago. He was on a winless streak, won here, and then has gone on an incredible streak. He has been the most successful in the Monster Energy Cup Series since that win. 10 wins, 28 top 10 finishes, almost 2,000 laps led. His average finish, again, since the win last July, 8.3. and already 5 wins in 2018. Looking to make it 6 to try to tie Kevin Harvick. Marty.
And Rick, I think it should be recognized how this big three just continues to duke it out every week. Last week we saw Kyle Busch in the lead late. Kevin Harvick moved him with 7 laps to go. He went on to win that race.
Oh, hard into the wall is the 43. Bubba Wallace slams the wall. That car at full speed. Passenger side door into the wall. And that is the greatest view we could possibly see. The window net coming down. This was a massive hit. Put his thumb up, but you notice he had to take a seat.
It's in turn 1, which is the end of that long front straightaway. We talk about how fast they enter turn 1, 200 miles an hour. Something happens.
And we've heard people talking about brake issues and having an issue with brakes. The speed at which we saw Bubba Wallace just hit that wall, it almost looked as though he didn't have brakes.
Rick, that was my instant thought, was perhaps was it some issue like that? What caused him to go into the wall at that speed? This is great to see Bubba walk towards the ambulance.
Feel good. I mean,
and he waved to the crowd too. I mean, that's Kelly.
Yeah, such a hard hit. You could hear it in Bubba's voice over the radio afterward. He said that was the hardest one ever. The team asked him if he was okay, and he was just barely muttered a yes.
Red flag is out. And guys, take another look at this.
You mentioned it, turn 1. Not a fan of this, Rick. I've seen this before. Jeff Gordon and I were here. We had a brake failure. He took that same left-hand turn. Dale, you have to assume, seeing the 43 down in the left in the grass, he's trying to do anything to slow that car down. And what a heavy, heavy impact into that safer barrier.
Yeah, that is the most frighteningest feeling that a driver can have when you have no control, either no brakes or no control of your car, and such a long distance to travel before contact with anything. It's just really frightening. He's sitting here knowing that he's going to not be able to avoid hitting the wall and doing everything he can to figure out a way to knock as much speed out of the car as he can and take the longest route possible to that inevitable impact. So I'm glad to see him drop that window net and get out. See the crowd reaction.
Watch the crowd's reaction to this when the window went down.
Yeah.
And gingerly getting out of that car.
We say it a lot, man, but really you've got to credit the teams and the NASCAR working together to make these cars safe. And Jeff, you were a big proponent behind the safety in these cars that we have today and pushing safety to be you know, critical and a pretty, and to see a driver get out after such an incredible hit is impressive to me.
This will once again emphasize how dangerous this sport is. That's a situation where Bubba Wallace is out there racing for positions. He's pushing as hard as he can, and something little on his car happens at the worst possible time when he's going the fastest on the racetrack. And that helpless feeling going through the grass, knowing he's going to slam into the wall at over 150 miles an hour. Still a red flag condition here at Pocono with 6 laps to go until the end of the race. Again, stay with us for post-race, followed by IndyCar Series from Mid-Ohio. Again, Bubba Wallace slamming into the wall in turn 1. He was able to walk to the ambulance under his own power. He will go to the infield care center and get checked out. But let's diagnose this a little more, guys.
So he's just barely turned off the wall, but you already see debris, which tells me we are assuming either a brake or a tire. The tires kind of look up. I don't see any tires completely flat. And the hood on the right front has damage, where I would imagine that's where the brake rotor has gone through. And the tires aren't locked up coming through the grass, Jeff. You know, you would imagine if you still had brakes, the tires would stop on the grass.
And you'll see, if you look real close, you'll see the brake rotor parts here flying around. Right there goes one.
Yep, that piece right there in the middle of the screen.
And we turn around, here's another piece, and here's a couple flying through. If you watch the bottom of the screen here, big chunk right there. And when he mashes the brakes, you can, if you look at the very start of that, when he mashes the brakes, you see the tire marks. The rears are locked up initially.
And really, the grass helped him. You know, I think the splitter would dig in just a little bit and pull a little bit of speed out of the car as it bounced. You'd have a hard time convincing Bubba of that, I have a feeling, but that's...
Well, I remember Jeff Gordon after, you know, Steve, you talk about it, and we've mentioned, you know, that it was a brake issue for him. I remember him saying that was the scariest moment I have had, because I knew there was nothing I could do.
That's what Dale said. Jeff and I talked about that a bunch. He said the worst part is the wall's so far away, and for such a long period of time, you know it's coming. He said it'd be so, he wishes he could go back in time and just turn right. He's at the wall, just turn right, hit the wall, right around. But that's not human instinct. It was not his instinct. It obviously wasn't Darrell Wallace Jr.'s instinct. It's just, man, what a, I mean, look at that car. Yeah. The right side, absolutely flat. You said it, Rick. You know, these drivers make it look so easy. Lap after lap, all day long. And this is truly the danger they take into their hands every time they go down to turn 1, Jeff.
As you talked about the safety, well, watch, you know, right here, you see the tires are turned to the left. He knows he wants to get away from that wall. He's trying to get it to turn. And watch this safer barrier. Watch it absorb the energy as it makes impact. Those foam blocks behind that outer wall just, they move inward and absorb some energy. Unbelievable innovation. But, Steve, this isn't the first time we've seen this here. Obviously, Jeff Gordon. But remember a few years ago, Jamie McMurray and Jimmy Johnson on the same lap had a problem. Yeah. Very, very similar to this. And it happens at Indy as well. It's just long straightaways, and you got heavy braking. And these long straights, they cool the brakes so much. And then you get on the brakes, and they overheat them, and then the rotor fails. And it's just a tough balance between having the brakes cool enough or too hot.
Well, you mentioned other accidents we have seen in this same part of the racetrack. This was Jimmy Johnson had a very similar ride, the same area. See right here, smoke out of the car. He knows he has an issue. He takes a hard left back across the racetrack. I mean, it has to be within 50 or 100 feet of where Bubba Wallace hits. And you see, same result.
Same thing.
Luckily gets out of the race car and just sits down. This track, I mean, I remember seeing, there's that famous shot of your dad climbing out of a car that was tipped over. I mean, we have seen major accidents here at Pocono.
1982, driving for Bud Moore, lost the brakes going into turn 1. Same thing, threw the rotors off, ran in the back of Tim Richmond, inevitably, and went up and flipped in the fence, climbed out in front of the car, broke his femur right above the kneecap. Oof.
Bubba's girlfriend, Amanda Carter, just tweeted, "I have never been so happy to see him climb out of a race car." Red flag has been lifted, the yellow flag back out, which means now It'll be 5 laps to go when they cross the start-finish line. They won't be able to get the race started right away, but that takes you into another bit of strategy, doesn't it, Steve?
Well, with 26 cars on the lead lap, Rick, I think it's going to be very difficult for any of the leaders to come to pit road. I would expect the 18 of Kyle Busch to stay out, and definitely the 19, the 9, the 20, all those, Dale. The question is, who's the first guy to come to pit road? As I go through time and scoring, I look at, say, Jimmy Johnson in 10th, maybe Clint Boyer in 11th, McMurray in 12th. Somewhere in there's going to be a divide. The last thing you want to be is that last guy on old tires.
What kind of tires do they have to put on their cars? That's another thing.
They should have their qualifying scuffs, I think.
So how many laps are on those scuffs? How good are those tires going to be? Are they even better than what you already have on the car? Sometimes you put on scuffs with many cycles on them. They're no better than really the tires you take off. So hard to say whether that'd be an advantage for those guys, especially back in the back. Late in the race, the track's tight. The track's tight because it's rubbered up, and not sure you want to give up that track position, especially if you're starting on the outside. We'll see here.
Well, we see a group peel off. Oh, some stay back on the racetrack.
Guys. Lot, sure.
Here comes the strategy play.
Yep, Kyle Larson is going to take advantage of that. Has some scuffs he can put on the 42 car. Really hasn't been bad today for their effort here. And remember, they ran second in the spring race. So a good Pocono will looks like it's going to happen for Kyle if he can put this fresh rubber on and get in from the back.
So these guys trying a little bit of strategy as far as coming to pit road, maybe hoping that it goes overtime. Maybe another restart would give them the opportunity to be able to get up front. But I have to look at this. This sport is so full of emotions. I mean, just a matter of 10 minutes ago, we were trying to catch our breath because we saw Bubba Wallace hit the wall so hard. We were not sure if he was going to put that window net down. Now we're looking at the possibility of Daniel Suarez, Chase Elliott maybe getting their first ever wins. We've come from as low as you can get to almost as high as you can get.
Well, and the drivers also. The drivers, they understand how big Bubba hit, but they've got to put that out of their mind as well. Daniel Suarez has got to drive that car to turn 1 as if his year is depending on him winning this race, and in many ways it is. So, drivers go through that same emotional roller coaster, and it's going to be awesome to see. If Suarez can beat Kyle Busch, he's beaten one of the best, right? Elliott, Suarez, Eric Jones, all these young guys, they got a shot to beat Kyle Busch, and that's what you want. You want to be able to take one of those big 3 out.
So, Jeff, you say he has a shot. I'm a crew chief. I'm done. I'm on pit road. I'm rooting my driver on. What do you need to have happen? If you're Kyle Busch, you control the race. You know he wants to launch first, Dale. The question is, if you're Suarez, Chase Elliott, Eric Jones, how are they going to win this race?
Well, just like the last restart, Suarez needs to be able to get off the jump with Kyle, be able to side draft him down this front straightaway, and be at least on door-to-door with him going into 1. And he's just got to take the spot. Just be aggressive. Battle as hard as you can. Kyle's going to try to work that outside and send his car down in the corner. You got to be aggressive and try to do the same thing on the bottom. And if you can't clear him, at least be door-to-door off of turn 2 to give yourself another opportunity to have the inside and preferred line into the tunnel.
And I don't care he's my teammate. You can't think like that. You cannot think that he's my teammate. You got to go at him as if he is your arch rival.
Hope you get some pushes, too, from the guys behind you. As Chase Elliott, if he gets a good jump, will he push Daniel? Will he jump to the inside of Daniel and try to go 3 wide? That's probably what he's going to do on this last restart to win the race.
What kind of a pep talk do you give Daniel Suarez sitting in this position? Listen.
All right, bud. This is all up to you here. Been in this spot with him before, so I know you can do it. You can get by him. We'll make it happen here, and we can get a win. We'll do it, man. We're going to do everything that's possible.
I'm going to do everything that's possible.
So, Rick, you said it, and I don't think it can be overstated. This isn't just a win. First career win for Daniel Suarez. This is, in my opinion, his only chance of making the playoffs at 93 points back. It's going to have to be a win, and here he is on the front row of what could be the final restart.
And you heard his crew chief say, you've been in this situation before. His first Xfinity win, he took Kyle Busch out to win Michigan. Didn't take him out wrecking him. He just outran him. Go back and remember you did that. Get your confidence up. It's not the great Kyle Busch. You're going to beat him, man. That's where you got to be.
And it's not just Kyle Busch that's up there and fighting off Daniel Suarez. He's got a lot of guys that are really hungry behind him. Chase Elliott's never won. Eric Jones is back there. Denny Hamlin hasn't won this year. Alex Bowman's never won. William Byron's never won. They're all in the top 7 right now. All hungry for a win.
Man, you got me excited.
This is what it all comes down to. It'll be 3 laps when they come back to the start-finish line.
Jones is in a tough position because he really can't go anywhere but forward into the back of that 18 car. Chase Elliott, though, if he gets a good run, he can pull out and try to go 3 wide.
Got to launch, though, Junior. You said it. This launch by Suarez will determine if he can win this race.
It all comes down to this. 3 laps remain at Pocono. Busch and Suarez side by side. Back to racing at Pocono.
Kyle Busch gets a good
way wide they go, trying to fight for positions behind him.
Daniel's still there.
Suarez side drafting as they go into 1. Busch has him cleared. Suarez knows that he has less than 3 laps to try to get by the 18. Kyle Busch wants to check out on the field. Suarez in tow. Eric Jones running 3rd. Alex Bowman 4th. Chase Elliott 5th.
Kyle's so good on them restarts. I don't see anybody getting to him in such a short period of time.
And Daniel did a good job. He didn't do anything wrong. He did a good job.
Cars bouncing off the wall, back of the pack off turn 3. Now, it looked like Suarez missed the bottom of the tunnel a little bit. Look at the chaos behind him.
Contact back there. We got a car, maybe.
A little bit of smoke back there. Might have been some contact. Looks like a tire rub as they go into 1.
Remember, if one of these cars has an accident before the white, we'll have it.
A car spinning. A caution. Car spinning.
Car spinning in middle 1 and 2.
And the caution comes out. Eric Almirola is around.
Let's do all that over again, Rick.
Oh, my goodness. Overtime.
I think that Eric was the car that we saw smoking going into turn 1. Could have a left rear tire down. Some kind of issue to create that issue, create that spin.
Tires up.
Still the damage to the right front. That happened on pit road when there was contact with Kevin Harvick. What does this do for Harvick? Now he's up to 6th. And another shot at a restart.
I don't think anybody wants him closer. I mean, he's been the guy. But I mean, we don't know how many overtimes we're going to have. I mean, every one of these.
The thing about this is it gives these guys another opportunity to try to right what they did wrong. What did Kyle do that last restart to prevail off of turn 2? What could I do differently to try to stop him from doing that?
Did Suarez learn and potentially put himself in another position? We look at Ricky Stenhouse Jr., David Reagan here involved.
Oh, there's a 42 Smokey. He's the one with the tire rub. Stenhouse gets loose. 10 drives to the dirt. Spins out.
Whoa, that was close.
Get wild back here in the back.
So I think Suarez, I thought he did a good job. He entered turn 1 and he was able to side draft Busch. See right here, this is where it all started. We saw it in the back of our shot. They're just banging into each other.
Teammate.
Cuts the tires.
Yeah, that was Kyle Larson and Jamie McMurray. Yeah, a lot of contact there.
They'll try to make it 3 wide.
They didn't know they were 3. They didn't know they were 3 wide. It's tough back here.
And this is going to be a great interview. Let's go to Dave Burns, who's with Bubba Wallace.
A lot of people have already thought it has been great to see him hop out of the car. Amanda tweeted that she was never happier to see you hop out of a race car. My 13-year-old texted, said, tell him he's in our prayers because that was a big hit. How are you?
I'm okay. That was a huge hit. Babe, I'm fine. Mom, everybody back at home, I'm okay. Hardest one of my career. I was just telling them here, there's no feeling like being helpless in that situation going off into turn 1. And it scared the hell out of me. I didn't know if I was going to remember it if I hit or not. So we're good. Bit my cheek, banged my foot off the pedal. I'm okay, though. I'll wake up tomorrow and be a little sore, but the safety has come a long way. So it's good to be able to climb out of the car. The EMTs were worried that I didn't let the window net down fast enough. And I was like, hell, that's the last thing I thought about. I'm sorry. But everything was good. They gave me an ultrasound. No twins or anything, so I'm good. We're just unfortunate ending for us. Our mile 22 Chevrolet was okay. It was decent. We were trying to get by and just salvage a decent finish and had brake failures.
Describe for us when you felt that, Bubba, and the process you went through quickly to decide what your options might be.
Yeah, the lap before I was holding off Eric, the 10 car, going into one, and the pedal went to the floor, so I went to the bottom. Just try to, your natural instinct is just to try to use up all the track when that happens. So went to the floor, pump it up, get through the tunnel and through 3 here, and then down into 1, I started pumping it right past start-finish line, and it blew. And I should have hooked a right into the fence and stayed up there to use that to slow me down, but I'm used to turning left there, Dave. So I turned left, and there she went through the grass. So unfortunate, but definitely the hardest one. I'm okay. I'll be sore. Yeah, I'll be limping, but I'll be fine.
Better days ahead for Bubba. Sure glad he's okay. And remember, just re-signed with Richard Petty Motorsports, guys.
Yeah, and great that he's lighthearted and joking there after this.
Talked about the brake pedal going down. That tells you as a driver that the brakes are generating incredible heat. It's boiling the fluid. That's why the brake pedal's going to the floor. And he said he felt that over in the tunnel. And so keep on generating that heat.
So just think about that, though, Rick.
Failure.
Think about the mindset of a race car driver. The last time through turn 1, it went to the floor. But with 5 to go, he's still going to go down in there to beat Almirola. Still battling. See the King come out in front of him. I mean, these guys, they're true athletes and a unique breed to do
The other
this lap
thing that
after
he
lap.
talked about that a lot of fans, I think, find interesting and can think about is in these high-impact crashes like that, how much your feet are flying around in the bottom of that car with those pedals there. That brake pedal and that clutch pedal are down there, just objects catching those feet as they're banging around. And you know, he's fortunate, no severe injury to the foot.
Well, 4 to go. We're going to have some restart, another restart. We've seen all day long. Restarts have been crazy. Look at this mess. I don't know how we haven't had more wrecks. 3 wide, 4 wide, banging into each other. It's just Pocono. The straights are so long. As soon as you get to the start-finish line, you can start changing lanes, and you see people behind you making a move. You got to block them. If you don't block them, they're going to blow by you. We got another one coming, by the way. And on this restart, like, I thought Daniel did a good job. He didn't do a great job on that ladder, so he didn't really do anything wrong. And he entered turn 1, not all the way beside Kyle, but close enough. And he had Kyle in the 3rd lane leaving 1.
Yeah.
And Daniel just couldn't get a good enough run to side draft him down the back straightaway. I think now that he's seen that, that's the goal, right? Is if you can make enough grip on the bottom of the racetrack to be on that left rear quarter panel of the 18 when you come off turn 1 to try to just side draft him and enter the tunnel side by side. That's really the goal. I don't think the goal is to beat him to 1. I think that's unrealistic. Just be with him and run 1 and then side draft him down the back straightaway.
Let's listen into the 20 radio.
Good news is you experienced it once, so now you know what to expect. Everybody will be really close on fuel here. I think we're good for 1. We'll be close on 2, so do what you can to save here.
I was just going to ask you, Steve, obviously you're probably going to be able to get through the next 2 laps with enough fuel. They've gone 161 laps already. That would put them to 164 ultimately when this is all done. If they go another 2 more laps or more, now you're talking about guys that potentially could run out of fuel.
Well, even if you don't run out, just if you step on the pedal, it cannot stumble. That's as bad as running out of gas completely.
Getting ready for the first run at overtime. Overtime presented by Credit One Bank. Green flag back in the air.
Oh, this is going to be an interesting restart. Kyle doesn't have any help behind him. Alex Bowman did not get a good restart. Look here at Eric Jones. He's going to go 3 wide. This could be for the win right here.
Jones not helping out Suarez. Kyle Busch is able to surge ahead as they go through 1. 3 wide behind him.
Battle down the back straightaway. Jones, Suarez.
Jones side drafting off Suarez as they enter the tunnel turn. The fight now is for second.
Oh, look at Chase Elliott.
Chase Elliott sideways through the tunnel turn. He's able to keep it straight, but he loses positions to Kevin Harvick and now William Byron. Out front, gapping the field, Kyle Busch coming back to the white flag. One more time around. successfully through one. Kyle Busch a week ago out front at New Hampshire battling against Kevin Harvick. Harvick thought he had the better car. Decided he'd move the 18 out of the way with 6 laps to go. Kyle Busch not letting anyone near him on these final laps. He has checked out as he goes down Long Pond straightaway for the final time, entering turn 3. A year ago, he ended a winless streak that had been 36 races. Now, as he comes out onto the front stretch, Kyle Busch is going to win at Pocono again.
How are you, buddy? Worked a lot this weekend. Get your head in the game. Trey, work, guys. Score them points.
Kyle Busch wins in the Monster Energy Cup Series for the 6th time this year. And he has to be put into the category of best restarts ever. He can restart as well as anyone.
I want to tell you, Daniel Suarez matched his restart. Eric Jones making it 3 wide, getting into 1 was a huge break for Kyle Busch. I don't blame Eric Jones. He's here to win the race, too.
Yep. Got to take that opportunity. Jones has got a team he's trying to take the victory lane to. Can't think about being teammates at that particular point.
That's right.
49 career wins in the Monster Energy Cup Series for Kyle Busch.
Seems like every time that Harvick answers, Kyle Busch answers. Yeah. He answers it back. I mean, Kyle got moved out of the way last week. Still finished 2nd.
So this means Truex will win next week.
Coming in front of the grandstands, always mixed emotions when the 18 is headed to victory lane. He is a polarizing driver. Many love him, many hate him. Well, this moment right here, presented by Sunoco, fueling victories all season long. 6 of them have gone to the 18 team. You just see him up on the wall, letting them burn it down. Yesterday, he won the Truck Series race right here in Pocono. And in that burnout that he did yesterday, he actually lit the track on fire with the rubber that had come off of his tires. And now he climbs out through the smoke, and the bow will happen to the crowd when he grabs the checkered flag.
And Mr. Busch takes a bow for the fans here at Pocono, and I'll say most of them cheered when he got out of the car today. An impressive performance by Kyle Busch, who started at the back of the field, and he said, who would have thunk it? A sweep at Pocono, wins the Truck Series race and the Cup Series race as well. Well, we got to ask him about that final restart with his teammate Daniel Suarez, who looked, Kyle, like he might have had some momentum on you there. Were you a little worried?
I was. Man, just, you want to turn around?
Get the sunshine on Kyle.
Yeah, well, I do video and sound stuff enough, so give him a chance to get a good picture of this, you know. No, just Suarez, man. I can't say enough about my teammate. Just what an awesome race, you know. He was probably the second best car, well, third best car. Harvick was the best car. We were the second best car. I think Suarez was the third best car, and man, he gave us a run for our money there on those last couple of restarts. The last one, I spun my tires a little bit too much, and he got a really good run, and I think that gave Jones an opportunity to make it 3 wide down into 1, and those guys got to racing and it just kind of let me get away. But can't say enough about Adam Stevens and all my guys. I mean, this M&M's Caramel car was Toyota Camry, was awesome. Had a lot of speed, but man, we fought it all weekend. So glad to get here and glad to get another win for the Rowdy Nation fans out there. Everybody here at Pocono, we swept the weekend, taking home both Eagle trophies this week.
And they're all cheering for you, too. Hey, this ties you with Tony Stewart, 49 career wins. The significance of that for you?
That's awesome, man. It's just you keep reaching higher up the ladder, and you keep reaching more milestone drivers. And You know, Tony Stewart's one of the all-time best and one of the drivers that I was a fan of growing up as well. So it's awesome to be able to tie him. And there's many more that we want to keep going and get higher than. But Tony's a great friend, and it's pretty cool to be able to get that. And what's crazy is how this year keeps going. You know, it's like Harvick gets one, we get one, Truex gets one. You know, like we're all back and forth. So it's crazy. We answered the fight here this weekend without having the fastest car, and that's what matters.
Big three duking it out every week. Kyle Busch will head to victory lane. We'll talk to him there, and the fans, they're loving it, Rick.
Absolutely, they're loving it. What an incredible restart. He's able to get out front. Said he didn't have the fastest car, but in the end, he's the one celebrating again.